What if Ash was in Pokemon Horizons? What if he trained Liko to take on the Paldea Gym Challenge in order to protect Terapagos from an evil, mysterious force? Well, I explored that exact scenario in today's video. Let's go! We start in Mesagoza with 14-year-old Liko and her partner Pokemon Sprigatito. They've come to the city in order to meet with Director Clavel, a friend of her late grandmother's, who has a gift for her. Liko walks around and admires the bustling city, as she hasn't been here since she was little. She then notices an academy student being harassed by a group of hooligans, who introduce themselves as Team Star. Liko steps in to help, initiating a battle against the grunts. However, she has no battling experience, and is easily defeated. The grunts get aggressive with her, and she starts to run away, grabbing the student with her. They run through the streets, but are eventually surrounded. The grunts send out their Pokemon. It's the end of the line, but just then the entire area is surrounded by the blue light of Liko's pendant, and Terapagos appears, and with its sheer might, it's able to defeat all the grunts' Pokemon. As Team Star runs away in a frenzy, the student thanks Liko, and she says it's no problem. They ask about Terapagos, and Liko tells them he was a gift from her late grandma, and she's been tasked with protecting it. It's her drive to protect Terapagos which has made her decide to take on the Paldean gyms. She also begs the student to keep quiet about everything. From there, they go their separate ways, with Liko finding a hotel to stay at for the night, and while this is going on, we see Zerk and Onya, whose device picks up a large amount of terrestrial energy. They turn around to tell their boss the news, which can only indicate one thing. Meanwhile, a young adult makes his way out of the Mesagoza airport, ready to start a new adventure. Liko and Sprigatito are resting in their room, totally wiped due to their encounter with Team Star. Liko starts to drift off, but before she can, her wall is bursted open from an electrical attack. When the smoke subsides, she looks on to see an unknown Pokemon, which her Rotom phone can't register. A silver Miraidon. A masked purple entity appears as well, the Violet Knight, who demands Liko hands over to Terapagos. Liko bolts out of the room, rushing out of the hotel and into the streets. She's then cornered by Onya and her Golduck, and through some smart and quick thinking, Sprigatito is actually able to defeat the Pokemon. But in the end, she's cornered by Zerk and the Knight. The Violet Knight tells Liko that Pokemon is his by right, that he must have it to bring forth a better future for Paldea. Liko retorts this, saying it's her duty to look after Terapagos, that she won't hand him over to suspicious people. The Violet Knight then says he will have to resort to force. Terapagos appears, and alongside Sprigatito take on Miraidon and Zerk's Rhydon. This doesn't go well. Unknown to Liko, Miraidon is actually a legendary Pokemon. And with Rhydon's backup, they're able to take out Sprigatito and Terapagos with ease. Before the Violet Knight can make another move, the sky is erupted in a thunderbolt, separating the two factions. As none other than the World Champion Ash Ketchum arrives on the scene. Everyone is in utter shock, and Pikachu was able to make quick work of the Violet Knight and his goons. They retreat for now, not knowing how to handle such a powerful opponent. Ash comes over to Liko, who falls unconscious. Liko wakes up the next morning at the Pokemon Center, Ash, Pikachu, and Sprigatito by her side. Terapagos has reverted back to its sealed away pendant form. Ash tells her he carried her all the way here, and luckily she wasn't hurt. Liko is extremely grateful, thanking Ash profusely, and he tells her it was no problem. Ash then gets curious, asking her if she knew who those guys were, and she says she has no idea. She then checks the time and realizes she's late for her meeting with Clavel, and Ash, wanting to check out the academy, tags along. The two arrive at the heart of Paldea, and are met by Jacques, who gives them a quick tour. The students, seeing someone as renowned as Ash, naturally start to gossip, wondering why the World Champion is here. Liko is then finally led to the director's office and meets with Clavel, who comments on how much she's grown, and that she looks just like her grandmother. He's also shocked that Ash is with her, and tells the young man it's an honor to have him at his academy. Clavel gives Liko the gift, a tera orb, as he heard about her wanting to take on the League and decided this was the best way he could help. Liko goes on to explain last night, leaving out Terapagos and calling it a special treasure, and asks Clavel if he knows anything. The director is as clueless as the rest, but reaffirms Liko that he and the Academy are here for her. He admits that in all honesty, he was going to give her a spot at the school, but it seems like she's found someone else to help her along her journey. Liko denies this, but Ash is all for it. He's ecstatic to see that Liko is doing gyms, and even offers to teach her. He says he wants to see all Paldea has to offer, and that he would love to show her what battling is all about. Plus, he's never actually had a student before, so it should be fun for both of them. Clavel reinforces the idea, saying it would be an invaluable experience. Liko caves, agreeing to travel the region with Ash. I mean, he is the strongest Pokémon Trainer, so he would probably be the best person to travel with in order to protect Terapagos. Ash then decides it's time for Liko's first lesson, a battle to gauge her strength, and so they make their way to the center of the city to duke it out. Sprigatito versus Pikachu. And obviously, Ash takes the win. He tells Liko she's got the fundamentals down, but still has a long way to go. The two then make a vow, Liko to become stronger and defeat all the gyms, and Ash to help her along the way. Liko then checks the Rotom phone, determining the closest gym from Mezagoza is in Cortondo. And after that, the two set out for Paldea. Ash decides that Liko's next lesson will be all about how to catch a Pokemon, and so during their lunch break he asks her what she already knows. And Liko tells him it's all about throwing the Pokeball at the Pokemon, what she learned from her favorite streamer Nido thing. But she actually deleted her channel about a year ago, so that's all she really remembers from the stream. Ash tells her she's on the right track, but not quite there, that you first have to weaken the Pokemon. Just then, a Wattrel steals Ash's sandwich, making him upset, but Liko sees this as the perfect opportunity to put Ash's lessons to the test. She attempts to catch the Pokemon with Sprigatito, but her anxiety takes over, and the Pokemon ends up running away. Still, Ash tells her that wasn't bad, that all she needs to do is stay in the game. That battling can be nerve-wracking, but fun too, and that's the best way to look at it. Liko realizes every time she's battled, it's really only ever been to protect Terapagos. She's never done it for fun. The two chase the Wattrel down, and by following Ash's advice, Liko is able to gain the upper hand and catch her very first Pokemon. Next up, Ash and Liko head into a small outpost town, where they decide to do some food shopping. Ash tells Liko he wished he knew how to cook, but he never needed to, as he goes on about an old traveling companion of his that would cook for him amazing meals every day. The two split up, gathering the supplies they need, and when going back to their meetup point, Liko ends up dropping the groceries, and a man helps her pick them up. Ash runs over with a ton of snacks, and is shocked to find out the man is none other than Brock. Ash is ecstatic to see his friend again, and Brock decides to whip up a meal for both Ash and Liko. They chow down, while the two buddies catch up with each other. Ash tells Brock about taking Liko on as a student, and Brock informs the pair he's in Paldea for his Pokemon Doctor research, hoping to locate powerful medicine known as the Herba Mystica, which is said to be guarded by powerful giant Pokemon. This gets Ash intrigued, but before they can talk more, a trainer's Pokemon passes out in the middle of the street. Brock rushes over, and with his medical knowledge, he's able to heal the Pokemon. This is an eye-opening experience for Liko, as she learns that strength comes in many different forms, not just through battling. After everything is said and done, Brock decides to accompany the pair, if only for a little bit, as he's worried Ash won't do a great job teaching. Ash gets annoyed by this, and Liko just giggles. Looks like things are gonna get a bit more lively. Liko is doing some training with her Pokemon, Ash is spectating the whole thing and giving her pointers, and Brock is making lunch. All of a sudden, a massive squeal is heard as a young lady rushes towards Ash, in awe at seeing the World Champion in person. She introduces herself as Nemona, challenging him to a battle. Ash is naturally taken aback by this, but Liko is shocked, informing Ash that Nemona is one of Paldea's top-ranked Champion Trainers. This gets Ash fired up, but Nemona actually quickly takes an interest in Liko's Tera Orb, asking her about it. Liko tells her she hasn't had time to try it out yet, and Nemona decides to give Liko, and by retrospect Ash and Brock, a lesson on terastallization. She gives them all a demonstration with her Pawmot, and everyone is in awe. It takes some time, but Liko and Sprigatito are finally able to pull it off, something that will definitely come in handy for their upcoming gym battle. Nemona wishes Liko the best of luck with her gym challenge, seeing something in her and telling the young girl she has a lot of potential. She also looks at Ash, saying the next time they meet, they'll battle. And with that, it's on to Liko's first gym battle, as she meets up with the bug-type specialist and renowned baker, Katie. The battle begins and it's a 2v2, with Katie using Nimble and Liko using Sprigatito and Watch Roll. Liko struggles to gain the upper hand, eventually resulting in Nimble taking Watch Roll down. She's putting a lot of emphasis on replicating Ash's battling style, which Brock quickly takes notice of. Sprigatito faces off against Nimble and things don't change. Liko rushes right into terastallization, but despite the power boost, it does nothing for her, and Sprigatito goes down. Liko is upset by this, but Katie encourages her, telling the girl she knows she'll find a solution to her problem. Later that night, Liko is at a loss. She doesn't know what to do. Ash is also feeling pretty down, thinking he's failed as a mentor. However, Brock snaps him back to his senses, telling Ash he's Liko's teacher. He needs to help her even when she falters. Ash remembers back to his own gym and league losses, and decides he doesn't want Liko to go through what he did. After that, the student and teacher work together to deduce that Liko's problem is her trying too hard to replicate Ash's battling style. She isn't him, so she needs to fight the way she's most comfortable. The two train late into the night, Brock watching on with a smile. However, a drone is also spectating from overhead, as the Violet Knight watches the group from afar. And now it's time to see if Liko's training paid off, as the battle is once again a 2v2. But Katie uses both her Pokemon this time, ending with a clash between Sprigatito and Teddiursa. Katie remarks that Liko seems a lot more comfortable now, that she's made great strides. Liko thanks her, telling the gym leader she won't hold anything back. This prompts the gym leader to terastallize her Pokemon, and Liko soon follows. The battle becomes a crystal spectacle, but in the end, Liko was able to take the win. She's ecstatic, with Terapagos unsealing itself to congratulate her. Katie also commends her efforts, and tells her the closest gym from here is an Artisan. Ash looks at his student with a proud face, saying to himself she's already come such a long way. However, things don't stay pleasant for very long, as immediately upon exiting from the gym, the group is surrounded by the Violet Knight, Zerk and Onya once again. The Violet Knight stares down Ash, telling the champion he won't lose a second time. Liko takes on Zerk, while Brock takes on Onya with his Sudowoodo. Ash and the Violet Knight enter an epic duel. Meanwhile, Liko is using all of her knowledge she's gained from Ash, and is actually able to defeat Zerk and Rhydon. Brock meanwhile makes quick work of Onya due to his years of experience. As for Ash and the Violet Knight, Miraidon is putting up way more of a challenge this time. It seems like the Violet Knight has been spending all of his time training to defeat Ash. Pikachu is starting to struggle, but in that moment, Terapagos emerges from Liko's pendant, its energy zapping Pikachu, terastallizing it. The Violet Knight is taken aback, and with this new power, Miraidon is easily defeated. This of course forces the group to retreat once again. Ash wonders how Terapagos was able to let Pikachu terastallize without a Tera Orb, with Brock insisting there has to be more to Terapagos' power than meets the eye, which is probably why the Violet Knight is so adamant on obtaining it. This is also a massive wake-up call for Liko. These guys are only gonna get stronger, and she can't rely on Ash forever. She needs to grow into a powerful Pokemon Trainer, one that can protect Terapagos all on her own. Meanwhile, in some ancient ruins, we see the Violet Knight surrounded by a bunch of other people, who make up a group called the Knights of the Round. The knight commands one of his admins, Spinel, to gather as much data as he can on the World Champion, that he's a thorn in his side. Spinel seems passive-aggressive, but agrees to the plan, saying it would be his honor to serve Paldea's one true king.
Once again, I'm lost in a dark and endless sea. Many times I've tried, but I still want to believe. There's a light I found that will always pull me through. So tonight, I'll risk it all to fight with you. With this rush like I've never felt before, let it carry me away. 'Cause this is just what I've been looking for, getting stronger every day. Beyond our limits. When our hearts collide, I feel myself break free. If no one can keep up, let's ascend to heights that no one's ever seen. It's you and me, with everything we've got. Let's go, show them who we really are. The power of this bond. There's a light I found that will always pull me through. So tonight, I'll risk it all to fight with you.
The trio has returned to Mezagoza for a day of relaxation. Brock decides to pay the Academy a visit, hoping to learn all he can about its medical research. Meanwhile, Liko decides to go do some shopping for some new clothes, leaving Ash to explore the city on his own. This is when he's approached by a man who introduces himself as Spinel, one of the Exceed Company's head researchers. He tells Ash Exceed is Paldea's main distributor of Tera orbs, being one of the few people who have access to the Paldean crater. He was hoping Ash would be able to help him out with some of his research, and he agrees. Spinel fights with his Umbreon, immediately terastallizing it. The battle is intense, but in the end, Ash gains the upper hand with ease. He's not the world champion for nothing. Spinel thanks Ash that getting a chance to battle him will greatly benefit his research, and then he leaves. Ash reconvenes with the others, and yet he can't shake off this weird feeling about Spinel. Meanwhile, Spinel returns to his lab at Exceed HQ, happy with all the data he's collected on Ash. On the way to Artisan, our group stops in a canyon region, as Brock tells them this is the area where the first Titan Pokemon resides. Ash is excited to see what Brock is made of against such a fierce opponent, but just then a shout is heard, as a young man rushes up to Brock, telling him that Titan Pokemon is his. He introduces himself as Arvin, and tells the Pokemon doctor not to get in his way. From there, it's a race for the Titan, with our trio trying to find it. Meanwhile, Arvin is becoming increasingly worried. Eventually, he stumbles upon the Titan Pokemon Cloth, sending out his Scovillain. He's losing badly, until Brock and his Steelix come in to save the day. Ash and Liko also help out too, entering a raid battle against the Titan, eventually defeating it and gaining the Herba Mystica. Brock is about to take it, but Arvin pleads for him to have it, sending out his sick and feeble Mabostiff. He tells Brock the only way to cure it is with the Herba Mystica, and that he's the only family he has left. Brock decides that from this point on, the two of them should work together to obtain the other herbs, and Arvin agrees, shocked by Brock's kindness. From this point on, Brock separates from Ash and Liko, telling them to do their best. Next up, while Ash and Liko are still in the canyon region training, a wild Charcadet comes up to them, demanding a battle out of Ash. He accepts, with Charcadet losing badly. It tries to take the loss well, but ends up running away in embarrassment. Ash chases after it, finding the Pokemon training with other wild Pokemon watching on. Ash approaches the Pokemon, asking if it wants to get stronger, and together, Ash and Charcadet train, allowing it to further master its abilities. all of a sudden another Pokemon, a Pyroar, shows up, who's bullying the other wild Pokemon. Together, Ash and Charcadet stand their ground, causing the Pyroar to retreat. Ash is happy for Charcadet, as it now can protect its friends. But Charcadet wants to become even stronger, and decides to come with the World Champion. And so Ash catches his first ever Paldean Pokemon. Ash and Liko continue their trek to Artisan, when all of a sudden a giant shadow overtakes them. Liko looks up to see a giant airship, with a young man on the top, waving to her. Liko recognizes him, utterly shocked. The airship lands, and the man alongside a boy come off of it. Liko introduces Ash to Freed, a Pokemon professor who once studied under her mom. He introduces himself in the Brave Olivine, the fastest airship in the world. He's dedicated his life to discovering the mysteries of the Pokemon world, alongside his partner, Captain Pikachu. The young boy also introduces himself. It's Roy. He's actually a student at the academy participating in his treasure hunt. He actually wants to be a treasure hunter himself, and wants to live a life of freedom just like Freed. So he's decided to team up with him as a sort of pseudo-student. He also has a partner Pokemon of his own, being Fuecoco. Liko remarks that Freed isn't doing his professor duties, but Freed tells Liko that this is something way more important, as it actually relates to her late grandmother. This piques Liko's interest, and Freed tells them to follow him. Together, the group make their way to a nearby lighthouse, one of Liko's grandmother's labs. Freed tells the group that Diana was once an adventurer, and was researching the ancient kingdom of Paldea, which existed over 1,000 years ago. Hearing this, even Terapagos starts to become intrigued, which makes sense, considering Diana was once his trainer. The group makes their way towards the lab, encountering hostile wild Pokemon, with Liko and Roy showing off their own battling styles, with Roy having a singing battling style which even catches Ash's eye. After this, the group investigates the lab, finding a giant crystal inside and a note saying that she's hidden 4 of these crystals all across the land. And where all 4 intersect, answers lie. Everyone is super curious about this, and Freed and Roy decide they'll keep up their research. However, before Freed can leave, Ash requests a battle against him. It's Charizard versus Charcadet. Despite being a new catch, Ash's Charcadet is doing a number on Charizard, but things take a turn when Freed terastallizes the Pokemon into a Dark type, ravaging the battlefield and gaining the upper hand. Liko is shocked that Ash could lose, as he's pretty much been unstoppable up to this point, but Ash just turns to Charcadet, saying they'll have to keep on growing. Freed and Roy bid the duo farewell, with Roy saying next time they meet, Liko and him should battle. Liko isn't fully confident she's strong enough for that yet, but agrees to it in the end. After this, the student and teacher end up running into a girl who's slouched over and hungry. They help her out and she introduces herself as Dot, with her partner Pokemon being Quaxly. Ash asks her why she was out here all alone without any food, and Dot says a group of wild Pokemon stole her supplies, and she lacks a lot of physical strength and really wasn't able to do anything on her own. Ash is really relieved that they found her when they did, and Liko swears something about the girl is familiar. After this, Dot asks if she could stay with them for the night, at least until they reach another Pokemon Center. And of course, Ash and Liko agree. Later that night, Liko wakes up to find Dot missing. She finds her and Quaxly staring at a lake, holding a piece of cloth. When she walks over, she finds out it's none other than a part of Nidothing's mask. Liko, blushing, asks Dot why she has that, and Dot is shocked to learn that Liko watched her during her time as a streamer. Being the superfan she is, Liko asks Dot why she quit. But the trainer doesn't say, only responding with she wasn't good enough. Liko can tell it wouldn't be a good idea to pry anymore, and instead tells Dot that from now on, they should be friends. Dot says there's nothing outstanding about her, that Liko would just be wasting her time. I mean, the only reason she's being so nice to her is because she was once Nidothing. But Liko doesn't care. She tells Dot it wouldn't matter if she was Nidothing or not. She wants to know her. Dot is taken aback by this, and looks over to see that Sprigatito and Quaxly have become quick friends, and so the two agree to become companions from now on. From a distance, Ash looks on, smiling. The next morning, Dot asks the two if she can come along with them, and of course they agree, adding a new member to their group. From this point on, it's on to Artisan, and it's all about training. Dot is revealed to be an exceptionally good battler for someone not interested in the gym challenge. Her team of Quaxley and Tinkatink are quite formidable, giving Liko an exceptional challenge in preparation for her next gym battle. Ash also uses this time to train up Charcadet, as he wants to help it grow as strong as it wishes to be. Liko and Dot also become a lot closer, opening up more about their doubts, feelings, and overall goals. As Dot tells Liko, she just wants to find something she's really good at, something that makes her shine all on her own. Liko also becomes comfortable enough around Dot to introduce her to Terapagos, who she quickly falls in love with. From the shadows, Spinel continues to scout out the enemy, specifically focusing on their biggest threat, Ash Ketchum. Anyways, it's time for Liko's second gym battle, as they finally reach Artisan, meeting the grass-type gym leader, Brassius. He tells Liko he looks forward to what kind of art piece their battle will bring about, to which Liko responds with enthusiasm. Just like her fight against Katie, she uses Wattrel and Sprigatito, while Brassius uses Smoliv and Sudowoodo. Wattrel is able to make quick work of Brassius' first Pokemon due to its aerial advantage, but his ace absolutely desolates the flying type, which in turn leads to a climactic clash between Sprigatito and Sudowoodo. Sprigatito uses its speed to its advantage, but Sudowoodo is precise, tracking the Pokemon's trajectory and landing critical hits. In a moment of determination, Sprigatito stands back up, learning Magical Leaf. Ash and Dot are ecstatic, while Brassius realizes he can't go easy on her. This leads to a Terastal clash, both showcasing the raw power of the Grass Tera type. It's a head-on clash between Tera Blast and Magical Leaf, but in the end, Liko and Sprigatito take the win. Liko is super happy. Not only did she learn a new move with Sprigatito, but also is one step closer to becoming strong enough to protect Terapagos. Speaking of which, the little guy is becoming more and more enthralled with battling by the second. Brassius tells Liko she earned this win, and now to make her way to Levincia for her next badge. Liko is on a high, and is absolutely determined to make her way through the rest of the Paldean Gym Challenge. But hearing the name of their next destination, Dot becomes hesitant, and a little upset. Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location, Spinel meets up with two of the other knights of the round, Coral and Sidian. He informs the two he's called them out here because he's in need of their help. The World Champion is far too strong for him to deal with alone, but they don't need to defeat him, only distract him. Spinel tells them the girl is progressing at a good pace, but it's nothing he can't deal with. He wants them to separate the two when the time is right, and then snatch Terapagos. Coral is reluctant but decides the thrill of battle is enough to convince her, while Sidian joins in as he's entirely loyal to the future King of Paldea. As this is going on, we see the Violet Knight meet with his butler, Hamber, who tells him he needs to become stronger, and so asks Hamber to train him in Miraidon to master Terastallization. To make things even more interesting, Roy and Freed stumble upon another one of Diana's secret labs, reading documents which state that a dominion of Paldea's ancient king, Lucius, lays dormant somewhere in Paldea, awaiting the day the king's best friend will return to hear his final message. The two are confused, but decide to keep seeking out the four crystals, making sure to link them together to find out what exactly Diana discovered. With the group heading towards Levincia, it's back to training. However, it's here where a loud yell is heard. It's the Mona, who tells Liko she got super hyped watching her train and that her strength has reached new heights. And so naturally, it's battle time. Liko and the Mona have a 2v2, Wattrel and Sprigatito versus Rockruff and Pawmot. Rockruff takes care of Wattrel, but Sprigatito delivers powerful blows with Magical Leaf to take it down. This leaves just the two aces, and it's right to Terastallization. The Mona isn't holding anything back. There's just something about Liko which lights a spark in her. In the end, the Mona is just way stronger and ends up taking the win. She tells Liko to keep at it, and that they'll battle again. She also turns to Ash, telling him that she eagerly awaits the day the two can duke it out, with neither of them holding anything back. From there, it's just more training until they finally arrive at Levincia. Ash is in awe of how technologically advanced it is, with Liko telling him it's the tech hub of the entire region. Just then, a live stream starts. It's the gym leader Iono, streaming one of her gym matches. This gets Ash and Liko excited, while Dot seems to be becoming increasingly upset. All of a sudden, a man comes running up to Dot, hugging her. He introduces himself as Murdoch, Dot's uncle, and offers the group to stay at his place while they're in Levincia. He also turns to Dot, saying he's sure her sister would be thrilled to see her. But Dot isn't so positively receptive. Murdoch leads the trio back to a bakery, his business. He reveals to them he actually went to cooking school with Katie, and the two were even rivals back in the day. Ash and Liko try out some of Murdoch's famous treats, absolutely loving them. Dot also has some, reminding her of home. All of a sudden, things change when none other than Iono walks in, and seeing Dot, she runs up to her, pulling the girl in for a tight hug. It's revealed here that Iono is Dot's older sister. She tells her little sis that she seems to be doing well. I mean, she's traveling with the World Champion. She also loves that she's made some genuine friends, and that Quaxley looks like he's doing awesome. Iono then tells Dot she should come on stream with her, but Dot lashes out, saying at this point she's just rubbing it in her face. Dot rushes out of the bakery, and Iono is confused, with Murdoch having a somber look on his face. He tells Iono to go back to the gym, that he's got this covered. And so, wanting to give her sister space, the Levincia gym leader leaves. Murdoch explains that when Dot and Iono were very young, they lost their mother to an illness, so he's taken care of them since childhood. Dot always looked up to her big sis, but as time went on, Iono's ability to excel in almost everything made her jealous, which has led to a divide between the two. Liko and Ash can't believe it, and the former rushes out of the bakery, determined to find her friend. Liko eventually finds Dot out in the city streets, and it's here where Dot reveals the true reason she quit streaming. You see, Nidothing was the one thing she was good at. Her sister may have been the better battler, the more sociable one. Everything Dot wasn't. But when she put that costume on, it didn't matter. Streaming was her specialty. But Iono just had to start it up herself. She streamed her gym battles and quickly surpassed Dot. And she just couldn't handle it. That's the real reason why Dot left. Liko comforts her friend, saying that she needs to make up with her sister, and Dot agrees. She says that before she didn't have the confidence to, but thanks to Liko and Ash, she's ready. Dot makes her way to the gym, telling Iono how she feels. Iono was actually shocked. She was legitimately clueless about all of it, and starts to apologize, saying she never wanted to hurt her, that she just started streaming because she wanted to share a hobby with her beloved little sister. The two make up, but Dot still isn't fully satisfied and says she wants a battle. And so the two have a one-on-one battle, with all of Levincia and the world watching via Iono's stream. It's Quaxley versus Luxray. The battle is intense, neither giving in to the other. Luxray has fierce attacks, but Quaxley's small size allows it to dodge a ton of the opponent's attacks. Eventually, Ash and Murdoch rush over to the gym, and together Liko and Ash cheer their friend on. And with their support, Dot and Quaxley have the resilience to keep going. In a moment of determination, Quaxley is enveloped in a bright light, evolving into Quaxwell. Everyone is in awe, and with its newfound strength, it delivers far more powerful blows, giving Luxray a super hard time despite having the type advantage. The battle ends with a clash between Wild Charge and Aqua Type. A giant explosion occurs, and when the smoke clears, both Pokemon have gone down, ending the battle in a draw. Iono and Dot are finally on the same page, with the latter deciding that she'll be returning to streaming, but not as Nidothing. She won't hide behind a mask any longer. She'll be herself. Murdoch is basically bawling his eyes out at this point, happy to see the two of them so happy with each other. Iono then takes notice of Liko, and after learning she's a gym challenger, gets hyped up for their battle. Liko then learns Iono's gym battle is a 3-on-3, and honestly doesn't know what to do because she only has 2 Pokemon. But it's at this point where Terapagos reveals itself, ready to go all out. And so next time, Liko and Iono will duke it out, with Terapagos joining the fray. The night before Liko's match against Iono, we quickly skip back to Brock and Arvin, who are camping out for the night. Arvin and Brock have both cooked up some food, and the former gives up part of his sandwich to Mastiff very slowly. Brock takes note of how close the two seem to be, and Arvin kind of vents to Brock here. He says both his parents were big shots in the world of Pokemon research, so much so that they were so involved with their professor work they really didn't have time for him. So Mastiff is kind of the only family he truly has. Brock tells Arvin he can relate, that his relationship with his parents wasn't always the best either. Brock asks where his folks are now, and Arvin's face deepens, as he reveals both are dead, that they died in an accident a couple years back. Brock feels really sorry for Arvin, and tells him that now they have each other, which makes the Academy student a bit happier. Anyways, it's back to Levincia, as it's time for Liko's battle against Iono. Dot and Ash watch from the sidelines as people all around the world tune in via Iono's stream. The battle is a 3-on-3, with Liko using Watch Roll, Sprigatito, and Terapagos, and the Electric-type gym leader using a Kilowattrol, Belly Bolt, and Mismagius. Watch Roll is able to gain the edge against its evolved form, but stands no chance against Belly Bolt. Luckily, Sprigatito comes in to do heavy damage, but also falls victim to the Pokemon's overwhelming might, but is able to take down the Pokemon at the same time, leaving just Mismagius and Terapagos. Now, Liko has never commanded the legendary in battle before, so she's a little unsure what to do, but Terapagos accommodates her every command. Iono gets fired up, terastallizing her ace into an electric type, but despite the overwhelming power of Mismagius, Terapagos is able to tank a direct Tera Blast. Actually, it seemingly absorbed it. Terapagos' body shifts into a new form, but it's too bright to really make out what it is. Liko is in awe, while Ash and Dot are shocked. From the sidelines, we see Spinel, a cynical smirk on his face. Using this newfound power, Terapagos makes quick work of Iono's Mismagius, solidifying Liko's third Paldean Gym Challenge win. Iono says that battle was awesome, and it seems like her viewers loved it too. I mean, Liko has a crazy cool exclusive Pokemon. What's not to love? Iono tells Liko she's gonna for sure shake up the Paldea League, and Liko thanks her. With some guidance from Levincia's gym leader, Liko has her next destination, Cascarafa. That night, everyone celebrates at Murdoch's place, and Liko decides to go for a walk. A lot of time passes, and Ash and Dot start to get a little worried. Unknown to them, Liko has been surrounded by Spinel, who's joined by his Behem and Umbreon. Liko stands her ground though. She's not afraid. Terapagos is too tired to fight, so it's up to Watch Roll and Sprigatito. Ash and Dot exit the bakery to find Coral and Sidian, who send out their Glalie and Garnachi respectively. Pikachu and Quaxwell are sent out to combat them. Using their combined efforts, it takes no time at all. I mean, Ash is the world champion, but Coral is snarky about everything, saying while she's bummed out she lost, all they had to do was distract them long enough for Spinel to capture Terapagos. Ash, hearing that name, thinks back to his encounter with Spinel back in Mesagoza, and that he knew something was off about him. Meanwhile, Liko's Pokemon are struggling against Spinel's. He's an experienced trainer, and things only get worse when Umbreon terastallizes, taking out Watch Roll. However, Liko still won't run away. She's not weak like she used to be. Thanks to Ash, Dot, and everyone she's met up until now, she's ready to show the world what she can really do. Liko puts her full faith in her partner, and Sprigatito is enveloped in a bright light as she evolves into Florigato. Liko is super excited, but can't waste any time. She terastallizes Florigato, who with its new abilities is able to take out Spinel's Pokemon, allowing Liko to get away and reunite with Ash and Dot. The Knights of the Round also regroup, and Spinel, while frustrated, says it's nothing to worry about. He will capture Terapagos, no matter what. Before leaving Levincia, our group decides to hit up the beach. Dot applies way too much sunscreen. Iono attempts to record her sister for being cute. Liko decides to check out some sandcastles, and ends up being attacked by a Palosand. Before she can send out her Pokemon, a Palafin comes out of nowhere and protects her. Before Liko can thank it, it runs away. Some locals call it the hero of the beach, and apparently it's been around here for years. Liko was determined to find Palafin and thank it, and eventually she does, only to find it in its base form. Liko learns that Palafin doesn't want people to see this side of it, but Liko says he's perfect the way he is. I mean, it's a combination of cute and cool, which Palafin absolutely loves hearing. Eventually, a group of Palosand and Sandygast appear on the beach for revenge. Palafin is too tired to enter its hero form, but working with Liko, he's able to take them all down. From this moment on, Palafin decides that he wants to go with Liko, and so our protagonist catches her 4th Pokemon. And with everything said and done, it's now time to leave Levincia. Dot says she's going to stay here with her family as she wants to make up for lost time. And our duo wishes her the best of luck, and from there it's off to Coscarafa. While this is going on, the Violet Knight and Miraidon are training with Hamber, who uses Dusknoir. The battle is insane. Despite being a legendary Pokemon, Miraidon is struggling, which just goes to show you how strong Hamber is. Things only get worse when Dusknoir terastallizes, completely decimating the legendary and knocking it out. Hamber walks up to the defeated Violet Knight, handing him a Tera Orb, saying it's time to begin Phase 2 of his training. On their way to Liko's next gym battle, our duo stops at a festival. It's a Pokemon race held by Exceed, where trainers ride their Pokemon around a track for a Tera Orb. Ash really wants one, and so decides to enter. Since he doesn't have a Pokemon he can ride, he's given a Cyclizar as a stand-in. And from the start, the two get along great. However, it's here where a loud ruckus is heard. It's Team Star, and leading the charge is their star boss, Giacomo. He recognizes Ash and tells him that while battling might be his thing, racing is what he's good at. After all, that Tera Orb is to make sure his Star gang gets even stronger. From there, Ash is determined to best Team Star, as Liko told him all about their bullying habits. The race begins, and Giacomo has easily taken the lead. Ash and Cyclizar have to work hand in hand with each other, which isn't the easiest considering they just met. However, Ash is able to excel, and ends up making it to Giacomo and his Reverie. It's a close race, but in the end, Giacomo takes the win. Ash is disappointed, and so is Cyclizar. Giacomo comes up to Ash, shaking his hand, saying that was the best race he's ever had. This gets Ash thinking about Team Star, wondering if they really are the bullies everyone says they are. Regardless, Giacomo gets his Tera Orb, and Ash goes to return Cyclizar. But the Pokemon doesn't want to leave him. The race attendant says that it looks like Cyclizar has taken a liking to him, and since it's cool with the people in charge of the event, Ash catches the Pokemon, adding a new member to his Paldean team. We skip back to Brock and Arven, who are running away in the midst of a sandstorm. Chasing them are two giant shadowy figures. Arven thinks to himself that these Titans aren't like anything he's seen before, and that they have to get out of there. Brock turns back to face the Pokemon, giving Arven time to escape. Arven stands by his friend though, as the two shadows get closer and closer. Ash and Liko finally arrive at Coscarafa and make their way to the gym, only to hear the unfortunate news that the gym leader, Kofu, is currently away. Liko is a little bummed out, but Ash cheers her up, saying this gives them more time to prepare and also check out the city. It's here where Ash tells Liko it's good to live in the moment, to take time to really enjoy things as they come. Liko takes these words to heart, and so they check out the city. However, things change when near the city entrance, Arven comes walking in, Brock on his shoulder. Ash immediately rushes over, asking what happened. Arven tells them that him and Brock were attacked by two mysterious powerful Titan Pokemon, and Brock was hurt bad. The group immediately brings him to a nearby hospital. It isn't anything serious, but Brock has sprained his ankle, and needs a couple days to rest. Brock feels really bad about everyone taking care of him, but Ash tells him not to worry. He tells his friend he's done so much for him, so this time he'll do all he can for him. Brock is thankful, and from there, Ash, Liko, and Arven decide on what to do next. Ash says they should go after the Titans. After all, if they hurt Brock, they could hurt even more people in Pokemon. Liko and Arven agree, and so the Academy student leads the duo in the direction of the Titans, and they eventually reach them. They seem to be a Donphan, but both look different. One is almost prehistoric, the other entirely mechanical. Ash and Liko are shocked, and Arven tells them he has no idea what these monsters are, but they need to be stopped. A raid battle begins, with Ash and Liko using Florigato and Pikachu, while Arven sends out Toedscruel. The battle isn't really going anywhere. Despite their combined strength, the two titans stand their ground. Liko is about to terrasilize Florigato when all of a sudden a blast of water hits both titans, as an older man and his Wug trio arrive on the scene, who Arven instantly recognizes as the Coscarafa gym leader himself, Kofu. With the battle now being a 2v4, things take a turn in favor of our heroes, as they deliver powerful combo attacks which slowly wither away the Titans' defenses, eventually knocking both of them out. With this, Arven is able to gain the Herba Mystica, and Ash and Liko thank Kofu for his help. The gym leader approaches Liko, praising her battling skills, and Liko tells Kofu she wants to challenge him, and he tells her he's excited for their battle. All of a sudden, a helicopter descends to the desert, as a group of Exceed employees go over and quickly catch the Titans. Hamber then approaches the group, introducing himself as the president of Exceed. He takes notice of Liko, commenting on how much she's grown. Liko is confused, but Hamber tells the girl he was friends with her grandmother, and remembers when Liko was just a baby. He even remarks she looks just like Diana did when she was a child, which makes Liko happy and a bit embarrassed due to the admiration she had for her grandma. Ash remains quiet, as he's a little suspicious of Exceed at this point, knowing their connection to Spinel. Regardless, Hamber thanks the group for their valiant efforts, and reveals that these Pokemon are linked to the Great Crater of Paldea. He says that they are much better off at Exceed, and also makes it very clear the group shouldn't go running their mouth about this incident. It's better for everyone if these Pokemon remain a secret. Arven is clearly upset, but keeps his mouth shut as Hamber leaves with the two Pokemon. Kofu says he'll treat everyone to a nice dinner to celebrate their win, and so they all return to Coscarafa. The next day, it's time for Liko's match against Kofu. Arven stays back with Brock, who's slowly recovering, while Ash goes to watch his student. The battle is a 3-on-3, with Liko using Terapagos, Palafin, and Wattrel, while Kofu uses Wug Trio, his own Palafin, and Quaquaval. Terapagos is able to take Wug Trio out with ease, but it's exhausted itself, easily going down against Palafin. It then becomes a clash between the two Dolphins, and Liko's is barely able to take the win. Finally, Quaquaval comes out, and using its fast agility, it's able to make quick work of the weakened Palafin. This leads to the climax of the battle, as Liko sends out Wattrel. Kofu terrasilises his ace into a water type. Still, Liko has the type advantage, and so the small bird zooms across the stadium, hitting the Pokemon with electric type attacks. However, it's eventually hit with a direct Tera Blast. And when it looks like things are over, Wattrel is surrounded in a bright light and evolves. Kilowattrel now unleashes a burst of raw power, only amplified by Liko terrastilizing the Pokemon. A Tera Blast collision occurs, and the stadium goes up in smoke. And when it clears, Kilowattrel stands as the victor. Kofu congratulates Liko, saying she's an excellent trainer, and tells her he thinks she's ready to take on Larry, the gym leader of Medali. Liko knows Larry, as he's not only a gym leader but a member of the Elite Four, and so decides she needs to train extra hard for this upcoming gym battle. While Liko and Ash leave the gym, they're approached by a sprinting Nemona. Liko tells her she's not really in the mood for a battle, but to both Ash and Liko's surprise, she's not here for that. Nemona tells the duo that the Academy is hosting a tournament where anyone can enter, and she wants both of them to join. Ash gets excited and asks Liko if it's okay to make a detour. Liko thinks this is the perfect way to train for her battle against Larry, and so the two decide to head back to Mesagoza for the Paldea Academy tournament. Liko, Ash, and Nemona arrive back at Mesagoza, which has been decorated in honor of the Academy's annual battle tournament. Trainers and Pokemon alike all gather around, one in particular having a huge crowd. It's a trainer in a Cerulege, and Nemona's eyes light up as she jolts away to his side. The crowd gasps, saying it's super rare to see the top two champion-ranked trainers next to each other. Ash and Liko are confused, and so Nemona introduces them to Amethio, another champion-ranked trainer and one of her best rivals. He's also the next in line to be the president of Exceed. Amethio tells Nemona she's delusional if she thinks they are actually rivals, and so Nemona gets in his face, Despite this, his gaze is fixated on Liko for some reason. Eventually, Amethio walks away, saying he intends to win the entire tournament. Nemona says that the Elite Four and the champion are about to arrive, so she has to get going. From there, Ash and Liko browse around the academy a bit more, before running into Roy and Freed. Roy says he's come back for some makeup classes, and Freed wanted to use the academy's plethora of books and research to learn more about Diana's discoveries, and the King of Paldea. It's not just them though, Brock and Dot also show up. Dot says she's here to enter, and her sister is trying to record the whole thing. Brock says he's here to enter the tournament too, which gets Ash fired up, wanting a chance to battle his old friend. Liko asks where Arven is, and Brock says he's with the director, saying that they wanted to talk to him in private. In Clavel's office, the director welcomes Arven back with open arms, but the academy student isn't all that thrilled. Clavel says he's really grown, making excellent strides in his medical research. Arven tells him that meeting Brock really saved him. He's so knowledgeable and a great teacher. He's this close to saving Mabostif. He just knows it. Clavel says that Arven's parents would have been proud of him, which makes Arven upset. Clavel interjects, apologizing, saying that he didn't mean to stir up bad memories. He tells the young boy to always remember that he has a place here, but Arven just walks away, lashing out at Clavel, telling him that he has no idea what he's going through. Meanwhile, everyone is chilling with one another, besides Freed, who meets with the Academy's history teacher, Rightfort. He explains everything he's discovered, the labs, the 4 crystals, and the ancient King Lucius. Rightfort takes out some old documents, and it talks about an ancient temple residing somewhere up in the north. However, nobody has ever been able to find it, leading people to brush it off as just a silly story made up for children. But if this place truly links back to the kingdom that existed over a millennium ago, it could change everything they know about Paldea. Rightfort explains that all that's known right now is there was once an ancient kingdom in the depths of where Area Zero now stands. But one day, the people left to establish their own city-states throughout the land, and the crater was abandoned. They say it has to do with the tyrannical king that ruled during that time, but Rightfort says there has to be more to the story. They didn't just leave because the king was bad. Not to mention, Area Zero at this point is completely uninhabitable by humans. Freed agrees, and thanks the teacher for her valuable insight. Then, a loud vroom is heard, as a Team Star gang approaches the entrance, this time led by Mela. She walks over to Liko, telling her to get out of the way, that she's here to enter. Liko tells her she better not try anything, and Mela just laughs, saying a pretty thing like her doesn't have the strength to back up those words. Ash decides to step in, but Liko stops him, saying she'll take care of this on her own. Mela will see. Liko's gonna kick her butt. It's now the next day, and the Paldea Pokemon Academy tournament is finally here. Ash and Liko catch a glimpse of the Elite Four, led by Gita, who welcomes one and all to the event alongside Clavel. She tells everyone that the league looks forward to seeing everyone's strength in battle. Liko gets fired up. Despite being a novice, she has this feeling in her chest, a burning desire to make it all the way to the top. She's then approached by Roy and Dot, who both declare to Liko that they'll beat her and go on to win the entire thing. And so a fun little rivalry is created, which Ash smiles at alongside Brock. The first round matches are announced. Roy is going up against Dot, Brock is facing Amethio, and Liko is going up against Mela. The first match begins, Roy versus Dot. Fuecoco is having a hard time countering its type disadvantage against Quaxwell. Dot's a competent battler. Even with Roy's unique singing battling style, they're no match for them. However, Roy refuses to give in. He wants to become stronger, as strong as Freed and Charizard. Fuecoco is then enveloped in a bright light and evolves into Crocolore. Roy is ecstatic, and using its newfound power, it's able to gain the upper hand against Quaxwell, knocking it out, meaning Dot is out of the tournament. After that, a couple more matches occur, with Ash demonstrating his overwhelming strength as the World Champion, which obviously catches the attention of the Elite Four, especially Rika and Gita. But after that, it's time for Brock versus Amethio, and it's Sudowoodo versus Cerulege. Despite Amethio's champion rank status, Brock isn't messing around, as Sudowoodo was able to land some pretty strong hits in. Ametio is impressed, and Brock reveals his past as the Pewter City gym leader. It's here where Ametio determines Brock deserves to witness his full power, and in just one attack, Sudowoodo goes down. Ash goes to meet his friend. Brock isn't all that upset. It was a fun battle. He just tells Ash to watch out for that guy, and Ash agrees. After a few more matches, it finally comes down to the final battle of round 1, Liko versus Mela. Mela tells Liko she'll make her go home crying, but Liko refutes this, saying she isn't the same little girl she was anymore, that she's strong now. And so the battle begins, Florigato versus Arcanine. Mela's battling style is very offensive, not giving the other pair any time to breathe. But by using some unique strategies with Florigato's whip, they're able to maneuver around the battlefield enough to where Mela eventually can't keep track. Using a combination of all of her lessons from Ash, Brock, Freed, and the others, Liko lands a super powerful attack, taking the Pokemon out. Mela is a little upset, but admits that she was wrong about Liko, that she's actually pretty cool. Liko laughs, telling Mela that they should battle again sometime, and so the two trainers shake hands. The main competitors of the tournament continue to advance to the next rounds, Ash, Nemona, and Ametio being the standouts among them, as they all advance to the semi-finals. There's only one last battle remaining in the top 8, Liko versus Roy. Both friends are really looking forward to this match. It's been a long time coming. In the stands, Nemona sits next to Ash, itching with excitement, wanting to see what Liko will do. Ash smiles, hoping that she can pull off the win. It's Crocalor versus Florigato, and it's a battle of pure elements. Roy illuminates the battlefield in fire, while Liko demonstrates the brilliance of nature. Despite Florigato's speed being its main advantage, Crocalor counters most of the attacks and hits hard. The two decide they don't want to terastalize, and instead go for an all-out finish, Flamethrower versus Magical Leaf. And when the smoke clears, Liko stands victorious, moving her along to the semi-finals. The top 4 matches are Liko versus Nemona and Ash versus Ametio. Nemona practically rushes towards the battlefield, itching with excitement to battle Liko. Ametio just stares at Ash with a cold expression. While taking a break, Brock approaches him and tells Ametio not to take Ash lightly. Ametio says he won't. Never again. The top 4 is here, and first up is Liko versus Nemona, Tauros versus Terapagos. The legendary Pokemon's might exceeds far beyond what Nemona expected, getting her even more fired up, terastalizing Tauros. Liko attempts to terastalize Terapagos, but for some reason it's not working, almost as if the Tera Orb has become fried, which Freed takes notice of from the crowd. Regardless, Terapagos continues to put up a fight, but even with its full power, Nemona just has more experience, and with one more powerful attack, takes the win. Liko thanks Nemona for the battle, and she tells Liko she's really grown, and just knows that she'll clear all 8 gyms. And after that, they'll have a battle to end all battles. But there's no time to chat, as the second battle of the semi-finals is here, Ash versus Ametio, and it's Charcadet versus Cerulege. The little knight is kind of intimidated, as it is going up against its evolved form. Ametio is ruthless. His battling style is aggressive, not giving Ash and Charcadet time to breathe. All Ash can do is counter the Pokemon's slash attacks with Embers. Ametio believes he's won, but Ash won't give in. Eventually, Ash and Charcadet are able to realize Cerulege's attack patterns, eventually finding a counter and knocking it back. Ametio is shocked, and in this moment of weakness, Charcadet unleashes a fiery assault, resulting in a massive explosion and Cerulege going down. Everyone is in utter shock. Ametio just lost, into a newly caught Pokemon no less. Liko is in awe, her teacher really is amazing. And so the finals are officially announced, a 2v2, Ash versus Nemona. Their long-awaited battle has come at last to cap off the Academy tournament. Despite losing, Ametio decides to stick around, wanting to see how Ash's battle will unfold. There's some awkward tension in the air, but Liko welcomes him to the group anyway. And now it's finally time for the long-awaited battle between champion-level trainers. First up is Lycanroc versus Ash's Cyclizar. Nemona tells Ash it's been a long time since she's been able to go all out, and Ash says he won't disappoint. The entire audience is completely captivated by the battle, as the two Pokemon shiftily move across the stadium, exchanging powerful blows. But Cyclizar has the edge when it comes to speed, and activates a counter shield thanks to Ash's teachings. Lycanroc just can't keep up, and is taken down, forcing Nemona to send in Pawmont. Her ace is a lot stronger, easily decimating the weakened Cyclizar in seconds, and so it goes down. Ash laughs, really laughs. It's been a while since a battle has been this fun. Nemona joins in, and their laughter exudes throughout the entire stadium. It's infectious. Liko thinks they're a little too battle crazy, but Brock tells her that's just how Ash is. He becomes a totally different person when he gets serious. The climax of the Academy tournament is here, as Pikachu makes its way to the battlefield. The entire stadium is enveloped in electricity as the two flash across the battlefield, eventually resulting in a clash between Thunder Punch and Iron Tail, the explosion sending both Pokemon back. Nemona says it's time to finish things and terastallizes Pawmont. She unleashes a giant Tera Blast, landing a critical hit on Pikachu. Nemona thinks she's won, but the World Champ's ace stands strong, and Ash realizes there's only one way he can end this. While he doesn't have a Tera Orb, he can show Nemona what he's truly made of another way. Ash pulls something out of his pocket, something nobody expected, his Z-Ring. And nobody, especially not Liko, Amicio, or Nemona, are ready for the immense power of the 10 million volt Thunderbolt. It decimates Pawmont, easily taking it out, making Ash the winner of the Academy tournament. Everyone is speechless, but this shows just how strong Ash is. He didn't earn his World Champion title from luck. To Liko's surprise, she looks over at Amicio, who seems almost scared at the prospect. Nemona and Ash shake hands, as the former says that was one of the best battles she's ever had, and Ash agrees they'll battle again sometime in the future. With that, the tournament comes to an end, with Clavel and Geeta personally congratulating Ash with a Tera Orb of his own, meaning that after all this time, he can finally start training with terastallization. While everyone is hanging out in the Academy courtyard, Amicio approaches Ash and Liko, asking if he can come along with them. Both are shocked, but the champion-ranked trainer says he wants to become even stronger than he is now, and believes that traveling with the two of them will help him achieve that goal. Despite his sort of condescending nature, both Ash and Liko are happy to have him. Clavel says now that Liko has 4 badges, she should travel to Medali for her next challenge, and so the group has their next objective. That night, while Ash and Liko are sleeping, Amicio sneaks out of the hotel and outside the city, where he decides to do some late night training. However, it's not with Cerulege though, it's with his true ace, as a Silver Miraidon comes out. That's right, Amicio is the Violet Knight. He looks at Miraidon, saying he'll learn Ash and Liko's weaknesses, and then take Terapagos. Finally, he'll be able to create a new, better world. On their way to Medali, the group decides to do some training. Liko sends out all of her Pokemon, Florigato, Wattrel, Terapagos, and Palafin, and today Ash decides to let Amicio take care of their training, as a different battling style may do Liko some good. Amicio is a little hesitant, but he did decide to travel with them, so he gives in. Liko has a bit of a hard time adjusting to his more aggressive and calculative battling style, forcing her Pokemon to improvise. Amicio's Cerulege is a formidable opponent, as it's able to desolate Liko's entire team pretty easily, with the only one being able to gain the slight edge being Florigato. Eventually, Liko is able to apply the lessons Amicio is teaching her, and during a rematch, Kilowattrol is able to land a combo attack with Florigato, damaging Cerulege significantly. Amicio says that's enough for today, and that she did a good job. Later that night, Liko finds Amicio and Cerulege training by themselves, and comes over to watch. Amicio gets slightly annoyed by this, saying he left for some peace and quiet, but Liko says she just wants to watch. After all, she looks up to him. Amicio becomes slightly flustered, and decides that if she really wants to, she can watch. After a while, he finally decides to ask her about Terapagos, and she says it's her duty to protect it, that it was her grandma's dying wish. He asks her if that's why she battles, and she says yeah. Amicio retorts that though, and Liko is obviously confused. He says that he can see it in her eyes. Liko enjoys battling. If she was doing it to only protect Terapagos, she wouldn't have that spark. Liko tries to deny it, but Amethio tells her it's pointless. He goes on about how so many people expect certain things from him. He's the heir to Exceed, a champion-ranked trainer. People have this idea of who he should be. But he tells Liko he never really wanted any of that. He's decided to live life the way he wants to. Liko asks what that is, and he says to make a better world. But he doesn't say anything else. Amethio gives Liko some advice, to not define her life by duty and obligations, and Liko takes it to heart, saying he's right. She does love battling. Amethio, for the first time, smiles, saying that she should strive to become the best version of herself. Liko, contempt, walks away to go to bed, and Amethio, after generally connecting with her, realizes she's more than just the teenage girl with Terapagos, or his enemy. He sees Liko for the person she is, and decides that he doesn't want to hurt her. In his mind, he genuinely apologizes to her, saying that unlike his other expectations, he needs Terapagos to fulfill his own dream, and that he hopes she can understand. But for now, he needs to lay low, and wait for when the time is right. A couple days later, our group finally arrives at Medali. It's time for Liko's 5th gym battle. Meanwhile, Frieda and Roy have discovered another one of Diana's secret research labs, which was where the 4 crystals intersected. A ton of records are written down. The first one is recounting an excursion to a temple in the north, confirming it's actually real, with a map even being included. Diana states that she went there to help Terapagos, but she was forced to retreat after coming into contact with 2 malicious Pokemon she's never seen before, who easily overpowered her. The second record is one documented a few years prior, back to the Area Zero project led by Exceed and Professors Sara and Turo. The duo learns that it was their first expedition to the crater where they discovered Terapagos, creating their lab where they found it. But Diana says that they wanted to use it for an evil purpose, and so she ran away with it. This not only makes Fried wonder what Terapagos really is, but also what Exceed and the professors were planning to do with it. We then skip to the ancient ruins where we see Hamburg, a giant silhouette of a Pokemon standing behind him. He looks up to it with a smile, saying it's almost time. We pick off exactly where we left off, with our group finally making it to Medali, where Larry's gym resides. Liko is ready to take him on, but Ash actually advises against it. Even if he's serving as a gym leader here, Larry is still a member of Paldea's Elite Four, and so it might be better to just wait a bit longer and do some more training so she's fully prepared. Liko gets annoyed. She already has 4 badges. Her team is stronger than ever. She's ready for this. Ash is still a little hesitant, and Liko lashes out at him, saying he doesn't believe in her at all. Ash tells her it's not that. Of course he does. It's just, he doesn't want her to fail. Liko thinks Ash believes she'll lose. I mean, really, what kind of teacher doesn't constantly believe in their student? He should always be encouraging her. She is ready. She knows she is. Before Ash can say anything else, Liko runs off into the gym, leaving Ash and Amethio by themselves. Liko makes her way to the gym and finds Larry outside, requesting a battle. Meanwhile, Ash and Amethio sit. Ash is completely broken. He tells Amethio that sometimes he thinks Liko would have been better off without him. Sure, he's good at Pokemon battles. Really good, but strength doesn't equate to knowledge. And sometimes he feels like it's impossible to pass it on. Amethio, having basically seen Liko's growth from the beginning as his time as the Violet Knight, tells Ash that he's wrong. He says that in the short time he's traveled with them, he's seen real growth in her skills, and it's all thanks to him. But a good teacher also needs to be there to support their student and respect their decision. As this is going on, Liko is in the middle of her battle against Larry. Palafin is trying its best to land an attack on Larry's Staraptor, but is quickly taken out. Liko is down to 1 Pokemon, Florigato, and to make matters worse, Larry decides to Terastalize, saying he'll end this quickly, that Liko is lacking something very essential, and until she finds out what that is, his victory is assured. It's at this moment, during the climax of the battle, when Ash and Ametheo arrive. Ash encourages his student, and with his words, she's able to push through. Florigato terastalizes, and an intense clash occurs, ending with Liko's victory. Larry, in the most monotone way possible, congratulates Liko on her win. He says what she needed was true confidence in herself, that throughout the battle she was trying to gaslight herself into thinking she could do this alone. It's here where both Ash and Liko apologize to each other. Liko says she should have listened to him more, and Ash says he needed to respect her decisions too. Ametheo smiles at this, and regret starts to swell up in him. After all, the moment he betrays them is coming soon. After this, the group, while traversing some ancient ruins, run into Jock, Rightfort, and a group of Academy students, who are on a class trip. Rightfort explains they're on a treasure hunt for some ancient artifacts, as this is a remnant of Paldea's lost history, and by finding treasure, they might be able to uncover more about this lost story. The group helps the class out, leading to Ash finding the auspicious armor, which is guarded by a King Gambit. Ash sends out Pikachu to battle, but Charcadet comes out of its Pokeball, fired up. Jacques explains that the auspicious armor is what Charcadet needs to evolve into Armarouge. This isn't just a battle for treasure, it's a test of strength. Everyone watches as Ash and his Pokemon take on King Gambit. Ash wants to terastalize, but Charcadet refuses. He wants to do this with his own power. It comes down to one final clash, and the small knight is able to take the win. Charcadet grabs the auspicious armor, evolving into Armarouge. Ash is ecstatic, and the class applauds the world champ. Rightfort says that while they weren't able to find exactly what she was looking for, she got to see the bond between Ash and Armarouge, and that's just as special as any story. While they continue their journey across Paldea, Liko, Ash, and Ametheo stumble upon a Hatchrim who has been abandoned by its previous trainer. This reminds Ash back to an incident revolving his Charizard, and Liko decides to care for the Pokemon, knowing how hard it is to be alone. We then learn that Liko was a pretty awkward kid growing up, and she had a hard time making friends. She can't even imagine the pain of being left behind. The two bond over time, but before Liko can catch the Pokemon, its trainer shows back up, saying it's decided to take her back, as he's gonna trade her for a Pokemon she's wanted for a long time. Hatchrim refuses to go with her, and so the trainer sends out her Morgrem. It's here where Hatchrim shows off her true strength, and working alongside Liko was able to take the win and embarrass the trainer. When everything is over, Liko finally catches Hatchrim, adding the Pokemon to her team. Next up, our trio finally arrives up north to Montevita, home to the Ghost-type gym leader Rhyme, who challenges Ash to a rap battle. He loses. Badly, with Ametheo almost walking away in embarrassment. Rhyme says now that she's had some fun, it's on to business, and she stares down Liko. She tells the girl that she saw her battling skills back at the Academy tournament, and has been looking forward to this match for quite some time. It's a 4v4, with Rhyme using Banette, Mimikyu, Houndstone, and Toxtricity. Hatchrim takes charge of the first half of the fight, with her and Liko already becoming a fantastic team. But the star of the show is her Kilowattrol, as it takes on Rhyme's ace, Toxtricity. Both terastalize their Pokemon, and in an electrical showdown, the two blitz across the battlefield. The battle ends with a giant collision, both Pokemon on the ground. But by mustering up all its power, Kilowattrol stands back up, securing Liko's victory. Ametheo tells Ash that she's really growing into a great trainer, and if anyone is going to become the region's next champion rank, it's her. That night, the group celebrates Liko's win, Ametheo genuinely smiling with his two friends, which makes what he's about to do all the harder. The next day, the group decides to head back south, as Ametheo tells Liko she isn't ready to fight the gym leader further north. But before they can, the brave Olivine appears into view, docking right outside of town. The group rushes over, and Fried and Roy meet them, telling the trio they've located the ancient temple. In Ametheo's pocket, a device is activated. It's time to seize Terapagos. The brave Olivine flies up north through a snowstorm, docking right where the temple should be. From there, the group traverse on foot. Fried is etching with excitement. His research is about to pay off. Just what was this ancient kingdom? How did it fall? And most importantly, how is Terapagos related to all of it? Eventually, the group locates a small crack between a glacier, revealing that it's actually a massive hole. Amethio notices something through the crack. This isn't a glacier at all, but a giant tera crystal. A massive cluster of them. The group is in awe, and by following through the crack, they eventually arrive at the ancient temple. It's stone covered with ice and snow. Terapagos then appears. This is all too surreal for any of them. They go inside the temple, and Freed thinks to himself that something's off. Liko, Roy, and Ash are curious about what he's talking about. Just then, the temple is enveloped in a burst of fire and electricity. As two Pokemon resembling Raikou and Entei appear. Ash thinks to himself that they're different though. A regional variant maybe? But considering how they look, that doesn't really make any sense. Amethio sends out Scarlet, saying that they don't have time to think. These guys are protecting whatever this temple is hiding, and they won't let them through. And so everyone sends out their Pokemon, initiating a group battle against Raging Bolt and Gouging Fire. Terapagos appears, speaking to the Pokemon, but despite their eyes glistening with recognition over Terapagos, they continue their assault. Working together, the group unleashes a powerful combo attack. Ash and Liko stand together, student and teacher. Same with Freed and Roy. Amethio, meanwhile, stands alone, but he's able to coordinate seamlessly with the others, which further proves his champion rank status. Eventually, the crystals inside the temple start to glow, and the two legendary beasts terastalize, their power unmatched, as a single attack takes out Crocalor, Florigato, Charizard, and Scarlet, leaving just Ash and Freed, as Cap makes his way to the battlefield. Amethio wonders if he should send out Miraidon, but then he looks at Ash and Freed, both smiling. And Freed commands Cap to use the Rising Volt Tackle. Working alongside Cap, Ash's Pikachu follows his movements, and together they pull off a double Rising Volt Tackle. Raging Bolt and Gouging Fire can do nothing as the two Pikachus descend, wielding Thunder Punch and Iron Tail respectively, taking the two out. Once the two are defeated, Terapagos looks on with a sad look. However, the two beasts then open their eyes and nod. Amethio says they must see their worth now. The inner chamber awaits. They walk inside, not finding treasure, Pokemon, or anything of the sort, but a crystal tablet, inscribed with the ancient Paldean text. Freed says he's been learning it, and while it might be a rough translation, he'll do his best. The words are something along the lines of this. My best friend, I'm sorry. Sorry for not being able to do more to protect you in your moment of weakness. It's all gone. The buildings, the streets, nothing more than crystals remain. It was all him. I was blinded by our friendship. I couldn't see the threat to my kingdom, which laid right in front of me. I don't know where you are, or if you're even alive, but I'm heading for a land far east. My shame knows no bounds, and I seek to atone with a life of isolation. Terapagos, if you ever read this message, seek me out there. Freed is annoyed. This just gives him even more questions. But Terapagos is crying, and so Liko comforts it. Amethio asks the group what a land far east could mean. And nobody, not even Freed, has a clue. Tension then swirls, as Amethio says he'll find it himself and bring Terapagos there. Everyone's confused, Liko asking Amethio what he's talking about. But from Amethio's chest, a bright purple light emits, swallowing him whole as armor clads his entire body. Ash and Liko are shocked. The Violet Knight. It was Amethio all along. Amethio sends out Scarlet and Miraidon, and after that, Zerk, Onya, Coral, and Sidian appear behind him. He tells Liko not to make things any harder. After all, he was dreading this very moment. Ash lashes out at Amethio, asking him why. Was everything between them a lie? Were they even really his friends? Amethio tells Ash to shut up, that he wasn't supposed to form a true connection with them, that this was never meant to hurt the way it does. Freed, Ash, and Roy prepare for a battle, but Liko steps forward, her face full of tears, but determined. She asks Amethio why. Why has he done this all from the very beginning? She knows that he isn't this kind of person. Ametheo tells Liko that he never lied to her. Those words that night were the truth. He's tired of the expectations this world has placed on him. A world where he never truly gets to be himself. So he'll tear it down. Create a new Paldea. One without the expectations placed upon him, where he and everyone else can be the best versions of themselves. He knows that Liko feels the same way. As much as she cares about Terapagos, the duty was thrusted upon her. She never asked for this. He asks her to join him and create this new world alongside him. Ash says none of this adds up. If that's all he really wants, why go this far? It's here where Ametheo reveals the truth. He is Lucius's descendant, the heir to a kingdom which wrongfully fell 1,000 years ago. Terapagos was Lucius's best friend, his treasure. The Pokemon is obligated to fulfill his wishes. Terapagos growls at Ametheo, and Liko, her body trembling, sends out Florigato. She says she won't stand by and let Ametheo take him, even if he considers her a friend. And so a full-blown battle between factions begins, with the center of the fight being a double battle between Ash and Ametheo. Armarouge and Cerlewedge fight it out, with the Purple Knight trying its best to get up close while his opponent releases a barrage of long-range attacks. Pikachu and Miraidon continue their fierce rivalry, with Ash wasting no time in terastallizing Pikachu. However, Miraidon is far stronger this time. The two factions are about equal, their powers at an all-time high. But things take a turn for the worse when Ametheo pulls out his own Tera Orb, and Miraidon terastallizes. The sheer pressure exuding off the Pokemon is too much to handle. Electricity surges across the temple. All the Pokemon are knocked out one by one. Eventually, Florigato is the only one who stands, but even she eventually meets the same fate. Ametheo walks up to Liko, telling her to either accept his offer or watch as he seizes his destiny. Terapagos is panicking. We see a flashback to 1,000 years ago. A kingdom shrouded in crystals. Destruction beyond belief. The silhouette of a shadowy figure reaching out for Terapagos, which slowly shifts into Ametheo. Terapagos cries out, its figure being covered in a bright light as it changes form. Liko tells Terapagos to stop, but it attacks her. It's lost total control of its senses. Ametheo smiles, holding out his hand to the Pokemon. He reveals that the king has the power to quell Terapagos' rage, to control it. He tells Terapagos to stop this and come to his aid, but the Pokemon just attacks him. Miraidon tries to defeat him, but he's easily overpowered, and the temple starts to collapse. Everyone is panicking, but in that moment, Liko cries out to the Pokemon, telling it to stop. Terapagos, hearing her words, is finally able to calm down, to Ametheo's utter shock. How could she? No. There's no way, it's just not possible. Liko stares down Ametheo one last time before he retreats, telling them this isn't over. Back at the airship, Liko looks out at the horizon, and Ash comes over to talk with her. Liko says that she knows that Ametheo wouldn't do this without good reason. Ash asks her what if he was lying to them the whole time? What if that was the first time they ever saw the real Ametheo? Liko refuses to believe it. There has to be more to his story. His eyes. They were full of pain. And more importantly, he's her friend. Ash smiles, telling Liko that if she wants to understand him, he'll be with her every step of the way. Liko breaks back out into tears, and the two share a heartfelt hug. In another part of the ship, Fried reaches his conclusion about the land far east. There's only one explanation. It has to be referring to only one place, the land of Kitakami. He looks at Cap and Roy, telling them it's time to set sail. The brave Olivine flies in the sky, and Kitakami comes into view. Fried informs the others. Roy and Ash are excited to finally make their way to Lucius's resting place. But Liko is still thinking about Ametheo's betrayal. She then slaps herself back to reality, thinking about Terapagos, and what's really important right now. The ship lands, and the group makes their way to Mizui Town. Fried says that they should split up into teams and explore the area. Him and Roy, and Ash and Liko. And so the group separates. It's here where a picture of Ash is taken, and a girl around his age comes up to them. She apologizes, but Ash is just way too much of a hottie that she couldn't help herself snapping a photo. This flusters Ash, but she quickly says that she's only teasing. Somewhat. Anyways, this is Perrin, and she's shocked to find the world champion in the boonies like this. Ash and Liko explain the situation, and she says that helping her out may give them some leads. She explains that she's here to snag a photo of a Pokemon believed to be sealed deep underground in the land of Kitakami. It's said to bring about calamities that could destroy the entire land. This piques Ash's interest, and he tells Liko to go off without him. That he'll do this with Perrin while she continues to search for the resting place. Liko doesn't like being alone, but she agrees with it being the best course of action. After Ash leaves, Liko continues her trek across the land. This is when a girl charges at her, with a little boy cowering behind. She asks what an outsider is doing here, and Liko is confused. The girl introduces herself as Carmine, and that this is Kiki. She means Kieran. Carmine initiates a battle, Sinistacha versus Florigato. The battle is tense. Carmine is talented, but Liko's learned from the best of the best, and after a powerful magical leaf, she and Florigato take the win. Carmine is frustrated, but Kieran says that's what happens when she charges at strangers and demands battles. The two siblings bicker, which Liko giggles at. Carmine then says that since she beat her, she's alright in her book. Liko learns the two are from Kitakami, but are actually currently just visiting home for spring break, as both of them attend Blueberry Academy in the Unova region. Liko wonders what kind of place it could be, but she doesn't have time for that. She calls out Terapagos, asking the two about the situation. Carmine and Kieran look at the Pokemon and then at each other, nodding, telling Liko to come with them. However, from the distance, a drone is spectating the entire thing. It's Spinel, watching from Exceed HQ. Speaking of which, we skip to a confrontation between Amethio and Hamber. Amethio lashes out at his butler, asking what that was back at the temple. Terapagos was supposed to obey him. It's in his blood. And yet, he went with Liko. It was her who stopped him. Does that mean that everything he was told is a lie? Hamber's expression deepens, but he reaffirms Amethio that he is unsure. After all, everything they found regarding the Ancient Kingdom came from the expedition to Area Zero late Master Gibeon partook in. Amethio says it makes no sense. If he isn't meant to be king, then who is? Liko? Why did he have to make friends with them? If he didn't, he could only be mad right now. But he's regretful, annoyed, and confused. He rushes out of the room, leaving Hamber to summon his partner Pokemon, still obscured, saying that it might be time they finally seize the rightful heir, that Amethio is showing dangerous signs that goes against the Master's will. Meanwhile, Fried and Roy trek up Oni Mountain, as they heard about a crystal pool that is said to connect with the dead from the townsfolk. Maybe if they can talk with Lucius, they can find out where his resting place is. However, their climb stops as a loud noise is heard, as a reptilian Pokemon stands in their way, walking awake. Roy and Fried realize the only way to stop it is to initiate a battle. It's Crocolore and Cap versus the Pokemon, but its power is unlike anything they've ever seen. The Pokemon summons tidal waves that make it virtually impossible for the two to gain the upper hand, with Fried and Cap barely being able to land attacks by flying off the cavern walls. Fried tells Roy they need to retreat for now, and so the two leave, with Walking Away continuing to guard whatever is above that cave. At the same time, Ash and Perrin make their way through a forest, where Perrin explains that she's actually an ancestor of the Diamond Clan, an ancient group of people native to Sinnoh, which was once known as Hisui. When she was little, she was always told about the amazing Pokemon that once lived there, with the only one she's ever seen being her partner Pokemon Growlithe. Sadly, most of the others have gone extinct. That's when she heard about the sealed away Pokemon, which was fought 1,000 years ago by another monster. Maybe, just maybe, it's a Pokemon from Hisui. And if so, she needs to see it. She also says that she's in a bit of a funk right now when it comes to her photography, and a picture like this could really get her back into the swing of things. Ash thinks Perrin's goal is great, and is determined to help her not only because it's her dream, but because it might lead to some answers about Lucius. Moving back to Liko, her and the siblings reach a small cave, where a Pokemon rests. It's an ogre wearing a mask, with crystals similar to Terapagos. Liko looks at her partner, but he doesn't know who it is. However, the ogre looks at Liko, its eyes gleaming with tears and excitement as it rushes over and hugs her, shocking everyone. Kieran explains that Ogerpon is the protector of this land, that 1,000 years ago she protected Kitakami from a great calamity alongside a man, but was framed as a monster instead due to the actions of the land's shogun, who wanted to banish her partner because he was an outsider, and so made it so his Pokemon were the heroes. Liko asks why they know the truth, and Carmine says their grandfather makes sure to take care of Ogerpon, and so they've become friends with it. Liko looks at Ogerpon, who still smiles at her. She wonders if she's mistaking her for the man in the story. But why does she resemble him? Who could this man be? Just then, Liko gets a call from Ash, saying they should probably call it a night and relay the info they found. But before that, Kieran asks Liko for a battle, saying since Ogerpon is so infatuated with her, if he beats her, maybe it'll come to like him even more. Ogerpon reassures Kieran that she doesn't think of him like that, but for some reason, he's adamant about this. And so Liko and her Kilowattrol take on Kieran's Dipplin, easily overpowering the Pokemon and taking the win. Kieran is upset, but he's more so excited over the fact that Ogerpon has a new friend. That night, the group, plus the siblings and Perrin, gather up all their info. Fried deduces that the man in Ogerpon's legend might relate to Lucius, and Liko agrees. That Pokemon in Oni Mountain also resembles the other two in the Temple of Lucius. Maybe it's one of his Pokemon? And then there's the calamity sealed underneath the land. What does all of this have to do with the other? Perrin, Kieran, and Carmine are all super fired up. This is so cool, and they want to help out any way they can. Ash says that it's best to keep their teams the same way. Fried and Roy will train and then take on Walking Wake. Ash and Perrin will find the sealed calamity, and Liko, Kieran, and Carmine will hang out with Ogerpon, with Liko suggesting to the siblings they help it reconnect with the townspeople. Carmine is reluctant, but Kieran is all for it, and so everyone now has their own goal. The next morning, Fried and Roy begin their training, with the professor using Charizard to spar with Crocalor. He says that Walking Wake is most likely a water type, suggesting that Roy might want to use another Pokemon. But he's determined to beat this thing with his partner, and so Fried helps Roy's partner master his fire-type power. At the same time, Kieran, Carmine, and Liko try to get Ogerpon back into the town. It's really hesitant, refusing to even take off its mask. Liko was able to calm it down a bit, far more than the siblings, and Kieran becomes bitter about this. I mean, he's known Ogerpon all his life. So why is she suddenly so attached to Liko? It takes a bit more time, but Ogerpon starts to become more comfortable in town with its mask on, even playing with the local children. Carmine compliments Liko, saying that without her, Ogerpon would have never done this, which makes Liko think about Ogerpon's original trainer. Who exactly were they? Meanwhile, Perrin and Ash trek farther into the forest and reach what looks like an ancient cave entrance. Perrin says that this must be the seal's entrance. Ash asks what if this breaks the calamity free, and she laughs. He's the World Champion. If anyone can handle Kitakami's ancient calamity, it's him. As they continue to descend, Ash becomes more and more uneasy, feeling a sort of sinister power reacting to his aura. It's suffocating, malicious. Eventually, the two reach a seal, where none other than the Blood Moon Ursaluna lies in stasis, locked inside a crystal. Perrin is in awe. This is the spark she's wanted. Ash tells her to be careful, that something's definitely wrong here, but Perrin isn't listening. She's too excited. As she gets closer to take a picture, the energy radiating from Ursaluna starts to react to her presence. The crystal starts to crack. Ash is terrified and tells Perrin they need to get out of the cave now. She asks what about her picture, and he says it can wait. Back in the village, the sky turns blood red. As in the middle of the day, the moon rises, crimson and terrifying. Liko and the siblings wonder what's going on, but Ogerpon becomes terrified. Roy and Freed don't take notice of this, as they're once again standing face to face with Walking Lake, whose devastating roar shakes the foundation of Oni Mountain. Meanwhile, the wild Pokemon run away in a frenzy. A tremble is heard with each footstep in the forest, as Blood Moon Ursaluna heads towards Mizui Town. Liko, Carmine, Kieran, and Ogerpon ready themselves. Florigato, Dipling, and Sinistacha release a combo attack, but Ursaluna tanks the hit, and with a single roar, Dipling and Sinistacha are flung back and taken out. Kieran is annoyed. He's too weak to do anything. But Carmine doesn't give up, sending out her Toucannon. This is a trend, as Blood Moon Ursaluna tears through the three's teams. Meanwhile, Ogerpon is frozen in fear, and is almost attacked. The three look on in horror, but it's shielded by Terapagos, who yells at the Pokemon, seemingly telling it to get itself together. Ash and Perrin are rushing towards the town as fast as they can, but are blocked by the devastation. Ash sends out Cyclizar, who is able to lead them through the forest. At the same time, Cap and Crocolore take on Walking Lake. It's formidable, but Roy remembers back to the training with Charizard. He terastallizes his partner, asking Freed and Cap to provide them backup. Cap zooms across the battlefield, distracting Walking Lake, giving Crocolore the opportunities it needs to land devastating blows. Things are finally turning around. That is until Walking Lake realizes what's going on, unleashing a powerful water projectile towards Crocolore, and upon being hit, Terastallization deactivates. However, despite his injuries, Crocolore stands its ground, enveloping in a bright light and evolving into Skeledirge. Roy is ecstatic, and with their newfound power, its attacks hit way harder, eventually delivering the finishing blow and taking the Pokemon out. Roy and Skeledirge celebrate, while Freed and Cap look on, smiling. But as this is going on, Blood Moon Ursaluna's terror continues. Ogerpon is living through the traces of its past, but Terapagos is there for her. Both have gone through similar things, but Ogerpon can't back down now. All of a sudden, a Tera Thunderbolt comes out of nowhere. Ash has arrived. He asks how the kids are, and Liko tells them all their Pokemon have been defeated. Ash tells them to leave this to him, but Ogerpon cries out, wanting to fight too. It turns to Liko, asking for it to command her. Together, Ash and Liko stand side by side, Tera Pikachu and Ogerpon versus Ursaluna. This is where the ogre's full power is realized, as its mass grows in size and crystals appear around it. Ursaluna is powerful, but with some protection from Terapagos, the student and teacher are able to stand their ground. The siblings look on in awe, while Perrin gets some great shots of the battle. Ogerpon goes in for the finishing blow, temporarily knocking Blood Moon Ursaluna out. Perrin tells Ash to throw a Pokeball, and he does, catching the Pokemon and ending the wrath of Kitakami's calamity. The townspeople and Pokemon are safe. They did it! Ash and Liko exchange a fist bump. Ogerpon then asks Liko to take her with them, and of course she agrees, catching herself a brand new Pokemon. Kieran finally cracks, seeing his friend, his only friend for a while, the one he wanted to catch for so many years, being added to Liko's team. Carmine takes notice of this, even trying to talk to him, but he just walks away. As Perrin joins the student and teacher, Roy and Freed reconvene with them, telling them all about their victory and Skeledirge's evolution. Looks like it's time to see exactly what it was protecting. Ash asks what about helping out the locals, but Carmine says they've got it covered. After Ash gives Ursaluna's Pokeball to the village chief for safekeeping, in order to ensure it's never used again, the group climbs up Oni Mountain, eventually reaching the Crystal Pool. Terapagos and Ogerpon immediately come out, as the crystals underneath and around the water start to glow and a spiritual figure manifests. It's Lucius, the real Lucius. He smiles at Terapagos and Ogerpon, his two partners, apologizing for leaving them in such a cruel world alone. But he then turns to Liko and says it's time she learns everything about the bloodline they share and how the kingdom of Paldea fell 1,000 years ago. Welcome to the ancient kingdom of Paldea, situated in the very heart of the region itself, the Great Crater. It was a time of everlasting peace, as the people in Pokemon of the time could harness the power of terrestrial energy, thanks to the friendship between the kingdom's monarch and his best friend, his treasure, called Terapagos. Lucius explains that terrestrial energy goes far beyond powering up a Pokemon or changing its type, but being able to access different periods in time, or maybe alternate dimensions altogether. From these portals came Pokemon unlike the world has ever seen before, the thing of legends. When he was crowned king, he along with 3 Pokemon and Terapagos swore to create a kingdom for both people and Pokemon, but there were those who were jealous of his power. Unfortunately, that happened to be those closest to him. In his late teens, Lucius embarked on a region-wide tour, connecting with the people he swore to lead. It was at this moment he met an adventurer by the name of Ristal, and her brother, Zeta. It didn't take long for the two to fall in love, and for Lucius and Zeta to become the closest of friends. When Lucius returned, he was crowned king, he and Ristal got married, and Zeta was made his advisor. But Zeta desired the kingdom for himself. He became jealous of Lucius's charisma, influence, and power, and so he attempted to seize Terapagos himself. In a moment of panic, the Pokemon was overwhelmed and lost control of his power, transforming into a monster which crystallized the entire kingdom, ending the lives of Ristal, the kingdom's people, and all the hard work his ancestors put into creating their utopia. Lucius was left to watch as the lone survivor. Terapagos was gone, along with Ristal and Zeta. And so, in his guilt, he left, leaving 2 of his Pokemon to guard his last message before leaving the kingdom to fade into obscurity and venture to the east, where he met Ogerpon. The group doesn't know how to take this, but Freed asks why Amethio believes he's the true heir, when it's clearly Liko. Lucius says he has no idea. After explaining the situation to him, he fears that some way, somehow, the history from 1,000 years ago has been manipulated. There was no power of the king. Lucius and Terapagos were just friends, and Liko is his true descendant. Liko doesn't know how to take this news, and Ash asks the fallen king what they should do. Lucius smiles. He says that's up to them. The future is theirs. Lucius disappears, saying one farewell to Ogerpon and Terapagos before fading away. This makes Liko even more determined to set things right and find out why history has been altered. Ash, Freed, and Roy all decide to stand with her, and they set their sights back to Paldea. As this is going on, we skip to Kieran in his room. He's distraught. No, angry. How could Ogerpon, someone he's always been there for, choose her over him? It doesn't make sense. What's so special about Liko? Is he not good enough? Not strong enough? All of a sudden, he gets a call on his phone, as a familiar voice asks him if he wants to become stronger. Spinel, who has learned everything about Lucius, reports back to Hamber. He asks if Hamber already knew, and he doesn't respond, simply telling Spinel that everything is going according to plan, and now they have their true leader. Spinel says it's pointless. The girl will never comply. Hamber says she is ignorant to the truth, and when she is properly educated, she'll have no choice but to assist them with their true goal. Unknown to the two of them, Amethio has overheard everything. He's shocked. His worldview has been shattered. All that he's been told has been a lie. The world was never his to change. He was a puppet. Hamber was just, what? Using him? Using his family all these years? He keeps his mouth shut for now, but vows to learn even more. Back in Paldea, Ash and Liko waste no time. Freed drops them off at Alfrenada, home of our MC's 7th gym battle. This time against the Psychic-type specialist, Tulip. Freed and Roy decide to stick around for this, and Roy is especially excited to see what Liko is capable of now. The battle is a 3-on-3, with Liko using Hatchrim, Kilowattrol, and Ogerpon, while Tulip uses Farigiraf, Esperanza, and Florges. Hatchrim is easily taken out by Farigiraf, and Ogerpon is sent in to deal with it. After delivering the final blow, Ogerpon is sent back, leading to a clash between Kilowattrol and Esperanza. It's a close match, as Kilowattrol has had a hard time dealing with Esperanza's psychic attacks, but in the end it's able to clutch the win. But the weakened Pokemon stands no chance against Florges, which is immediately terastallized into a Psychic type. This leaves Liko with only a weakened Ogerpon. Liko's nervous. Can she really do this? However, Roy cheers out, telling Liko to give it all she's got. Freed and Ash soon follow, and then Ogerpon turns to her trainer, nodding with determination. Liko nods too, a look of newfound fire in her eyes. Liko terastallizes her final Pokemon, leading to a Tera clash. However, Ogerpon's power far exceeds that of the gym leaders. With that, Liko has earned her 7th gym win. And Tulip tells her the only challenge left is Grusha on the top of Lisado Mountain. This is it. With just one more test, she'll be eligible for the Pokemon League exam. And if she wins, she'll become a champion-ranked trainer. At first, this whole thing just started off as a means to get stronger, in order to protect Terapagos. But now, it's more than that. She thinks back to Amethio's words. Maybe at one point this was an obligation, but it's become her passion. She wants to enter the Paldea League. She wants to win. Battling has become her whole life. She loves it, and it's all thanks to her journey and everyone she's met. Ash watches on with a smile, with Freed walking over and telling him he's done good. Liko is turning out to be an amazing trainer, which just gets Roy even more excited for their inevitable rematch. However, things take a drastic turn when the group returns to the ship, as they're surrounded by Exceed employees, with Hamber and Spinel leading the charge. Liko asks Hamber what this is about, but upon seeing Spinel, Ash immediately stands in his way, saying that they won't hurt Liko or get their hands on Terapagos. Spinel laughs, saying that they aren't here for the king's treasure, but the true heir to the throne, Liko herself. Hamber explains that their plan requires the descendant of King Lucius. After all, once everything is complete, a symbol will be needed, a true leader. Liko says she has no idea what they want with her, but that she'll never go with them. Spinel says it doesn't matter what she wants, it's time to correct history, and that she doesn't have a choice but to take up her true role. Spinel is about to send out his Pokemon, but Hamber tells him to step down, as he sends out his own ace, Shiny Koraidon. Nobody has any idea what the Pokemon is, but a raid battle is initiated. It's Skeledirge, Florigato, Pikachu, and Cap against the legendary. Koraidon is just on another level of strength. It easily takes out Florigato, Cap, and Skeledirge, leaving just Ash and Pikachu. While Pikachu has the speed and hits with a lot of power, Koraidon is just a totally different beast. Ash takes matters into his own hands, terastallizing Pikachu. A ton of Crystal Thunderbolts are launched at the Pokemon, but Hamber and Koraidon stand tall, not even terastallizing themselves as they continue to strike with total devastation. The others are ready to send out more Pokemon, but Ash insists that this is his fight. He's Liko's teacher. It's only right he protects his student. Hamber tells Ash that he is an admirable trainer, and will serve as a great man in the new Paldea. Koraidon grabs Pikachu, refusing to let go as it charges up an attack. It looks like things are over. That is, until Miraidon and Amethio show up, standing beside Ash and the others. Liko is shocked, and Hamber asks what this is about. Amethio tells his mentor that this is wrong. He wanted to make a world with no expectations, and now They're trying to force Liko into a role she never asked for. He's decided. Even if everything he knew was a lie, even if he's not actually Lucius's descendant, he will fight for the true heir. No, for his friend. Ash smirks and Spinel laughs in amusement. Together the two stand together, ready to take on the beast in front of them. Koraidon is as powerful as ever, but Ash and Ametheo make an excellent team, delivering a powerful combo of electric-type attacks which slowly wither away at Koraidon. Amber returns the Pokemon, saying this isn't worth it any longer, but he looks at Liko, saying she will one day come with them to fulfill her true purpose. Exceed retreats, and Ash and Pikachu fall to the ground, exhausted. Ametheo comes over, helping him up. He looks at the others, who are still a little hesitant of him, but he assures them he's no longer their enemy. Amber lied to him, his whole life, and he needs answers. What's really going on? What exactly is their plan? Fried is shocked to know that Ametheo is as much in the dark as they are, and so they decide to reconvene at the academy. After explaining the whole situation to Clavel, he allows Liko to stay at the school while Exceed is after her. Liko hates feeling hopeless. She wants to get stronger. Fried says that while laying low at the school isn't a bad idea, it'd be better if she could go somewhere overseas. Clavel, hearing this idea, sends out a call to his good friend Director Serrano, principal of Blueberry Academy off the coast of the Unova region. After hearing about Liko's situation and love for battles, he thinks she'd be a great fit at the school, and so it's decided that Liko will go and attend Blueberry Academy, with Roy accompanying her. From there, Liko and Roy leave immediately for the airport. The student and teacher share an emotional goodbye, with both reaffirming the other that they'll see each other once again, with Ash promising to do all he can for her on his end, and to reach out if she needs anything. And so, while the two head to Unova, Ametheo approaches Ash and Fried, saying that he needs their help. The two are all ears, and Ametheo explains that Amber has all the answers. And everything, Terapagos, the true king, the end goal to all of this has to do with one thing: the Area Zero experiment that took place 10 years ago. So, there's only one place for them to go. At the same time, we see Amber deep underground, in a palace made entirely of crystals. A large throne is situated at its end, but nobody sits on it. However, to the side, where the hand of a king would normally stand, sits another crystal, and inside is none other than Zeta, telling Amber that the seal is almost broken. All of a sudden, futuristic versions of the Swords of Justice surround him. Zeta commands Amber to bring the girl to him, and that it's time he makes amends for his mistakes. Back at the academy, Ash, Fried, and Ametheo prepare for their adventure into Area Zero, with Ametheo suggesting they use Miraidon to safely dive into the crater. It's here where Arvid and Brock approach them, the former saying he's coming with them. Ametheo tells the student that this is dangerous, but Arvid doesn't care. His parents were just as involved with this whole situation as Exceed. He needs answers. Ash tells Ametheo that Arvid deserves some closure just like they do, and he reluctantly allows Brock and Arvid to come with them. They arrive at the gate to Area Zero, and Miraidon is sent out. The group all boards the Pokemon, as they descend down to Paldea's center. At the same time, Liko and Roy arrive at the entrance of Blueberry Academy, where they're approached by Principal Cyrano and Professor Briar. Nobody here knows the real reason Liko and Roy are here. For all they know, they're transfer students from the Paldea Academy. Cyrano welcomes them to the school, saying he's excited to see what kids recommended by Clavel are made of. Briar takes interest in Terapagos, begging Liko to let her study it. Terapagos looks terrified, so Liko says she'll talk to him about it and get back to her later. The duo then reunites with Carmine, who brings them to the terrarium. The two are in absolute awe with the giant artificial landscape, and are shocked to learn that terastallization can be used all the way out here from Paldea. She also introduces them to the BB Elite Four: Crispin, Emerus, Lacey, and Drayton, who tries to flirt with Liko with his whole cool guy act, getting a slap from Carmine as a result. They also reunite with Kieran, who was completely changed from the last time they saw him. He's angry, bitter, and tells Liko that at the upcoming school tournament, he'll destroy her. Liko wonders what happened to him, and Carmine says that after their visit home, he's been acting weird. He became obsessed with strength and quickly rose to the rank of BB champion. But if anyone can knock some sense into him, it's Liko. Liko thinks about what's really going on, and Drayton continues to take interest in the school's newest student. Miraidon finishes his descent, and the group arrives in Area 0. It's beyond anything they thought possible, a true marvel of Paldea's nature. Throughout the lands are loads of Paradox Pokemon, both prehistoric and futuristic. Freed is in awe, finding it hard to believe a whole ecosystem of these Pokemon existed here this whole time, and for centuries. Amethio becomes even more tense, and Arvin is the same, which Brock takes notice of. Freed recounts back to Diana's journal, saying that they located Terapagos in Area 0's depths, and that's where they constructed their lab. Amethio says that the lab will have the answers they're looking for, and so Ash says their destination is clear. This hike to the depths isn't just a one-day thing, it takes them multiple days. While traversing the landscape, they encounter and research more Paradox Pokemon, as Freed wants to get as much data as possible. Meanwhile, Ash continues to think about what these Pokemon really are, and that this world really is just the coolest, full of things he could never have imagined. Some of the Pokemon are hostile, but the group is full of exceptional trainers, and so they make quick work of whatever comes their way. They also find smaller labs scattered throughout the land. This isn't the main lab, and all their records have been completely destroyed, so instead they use these facilities to camp out for the night to avoid the hostile Paradox Pokemon. Eventually, the group descends into the depths, coming into contact with a large building. Amethio says this has to be it. The Zero Lab. While this has been going on, Liko and Roy have gotten accustomed to Blueberry Academy. Roy and Crispin have become quick friends, bonding over their love for battles and spicy foods. Lacey and Liko have also clicked super fast, and together with Carmine have formed a little friend group. Briar has already gotten a chance to research Terapagos, saying that this will make excellent strides with her tera research, explaining the ins and outs of how terastallization has been brought to Unova, and she plans to make it spread throughout the whole region, bringing a new level of excitement to the Unova League. While in class one day, the teacher says a special guest has arrived to the school, an alumni who has made a name for himself as a competent battler. To Liko's surprise, it's none other than Paldea's final gym leader, Grusha. She might actually be able to complete her gym challenge. She approaches Grusha, explaining the situation, and Grusha agrees to a battle as long as she doesn't bore him. It's a 4-on-4, taking place in the Polar Zone. Liko uses Palafin, Terapagos, Ogerpon, and Florigato, with Grusha using Frostmoth, Beartic, Satitan, and Altaria. The BB League assembles, all looking forward to seeing a clash between Paldean trainers. Terapagos is able to land some significant damage on Frostmoth, but it's frozen in the process, resulting in a tie. Palafin struggles against Beartic, so it's returned and finished off by Florigato. Palafin is then sent back out for a battle of brute force against the Titan, but is overwhelmed even with its insane power. This forces Liko to send in Ogerpon to end things. Kieran watches the battle with disdain. He can't bear to see his Ogerpon standing next to her. Meanwhile, the BB League is impressed by her skills, and Drayton even says she has the chance to be the next BB champion. The group is shocked that Drayton would give someone such high praise. However, Drayton's gaze narrows, saying she's not there yet. Ogerpon is able to take down the Titan, but as soon as Altaria comes in, the Pokemon is demolished, leaving Liko with just her weakened partner. Grusha says she's not worth his full power, and Liko gets upset. terastallizing Florigato and telling her to go all out. Altaria is able to dodge Florigato's assault with ease. Its moves graceful and refined, and with just one Dragon Pulse, takes Florigato down. Crucia says that until she knows how to actually fight him, she shouldn't come looking for a rematch. Liko is devastated, and even starts to cry. She thinks about what Ash would do in the situation. He would take this loss and learn from it. So that's exactly what she's gonna do. Later that night, Liko trains in the terrarium with her team, and is approached by Drayton. He sends out his ace, Archaladon, and offers to help her train. At the same time, the group finally enters the Zero Lab via Ametheo, who has access due to his status. Arven's eyes widen in shock, as one thing stands above the rest. It's a man who quickly opens his eyes. It's Arven's father, Professor Turo. Arven slowly walks over to his dad, his body trembling. But that shock turns to anger. He slaps the man right across the face, slamming him to the ground. He asks how he could just abandon him, make him believe he was dead. Turo then stands back up and apologizes to the boy, revealing that in reality, he isn't Professor Turo, that he was right to believe his father was deceased. It's revealed here that this Turo is actually an AI replica created by the original, intended to continue his and Sada's research if anything were to happen to them. He looks at Arven and says that the two never wanted him to know about his existence, that this is just too cruel for a child his age. Everyone's confused and asks what happened here to the professors and the research being conducted. Turo then looks at them, explaining everything. The Area Zero project was founded by Exceed. It was an attempt to finally understand the mysteries surrounding Paldea's most perplexing environment. The company joined up with many notable people, like Arven's parents and Diana, and ventured into the crater. It's here where they uncovered Paradox Pokemon, which up until this point had only been recorded in books written by a man named Heath, the only other person to fully explore Area Zero and come back alive. They also discovered a mysterious Pokemon sealed away in the depths of the crater, Terapagos, which they learned was in fact a sort of conduit for terrestrial energy, even believing that Terapagos as a species might even be the progenitor of the energy source. This allowed them to construct a time machine, replicating the process performed in the ancient kingdom a millennia ago. However, Terapagos wasn't the only thing they discovered in the depths. While surveying the area, Sada and Exceed's former president Gibeon discovered something unbelievable. A man trapped in a crystal, his body preserved for all this time. And despite being in such a fragile state, he was able to communicate with them telepathically, as if terrestrial energy had transformed this person into something far beyond a human being. They learned his name was Zeta, and he started telling them strange things about the ancient kingdom of Paldea, and how Terapagos could bring about a golden age for the region. He believed Gibeon was the descendant of his sovereign, and told him that if he took control of Terapagos, he could use the power of the king to ascend the crystal throne. Gibeon, under Zeta's influence, became power-hungry, and so Exceed turned on the professors and Diana, wishing to capitalize on the project's findings entirely for themselves. Fortunately, Liko's grandma was able to take Terapagos and hide away, but the professors weren't so lucky. They were sealed away in the lab so they couldn't inform anyone of what Exceed was really up to. With no way to contact the outside world, this isolation eventually resulted in their deaths, with AI Turo being the only remnant of what once happened here. Arven and Ametheo become extremely angry, and Ametheo realizes that Zeta's been pulling the strings this whole time. He must be the one that Hamber is answering to. He made his grandfather into a fool until his death, and tried to do the same thing to him, just so he could get what he wants. AI Turo says this is merely speculation, but he believes Zeta's end goal has something to do with using Terapagos' immense power to physically alter the region in some sort of way, which catches everyone's attention. Arven is still in shock, and so Brock comes over to comfort him, the student pulling his mentor into a hug. Ash doesn't fully understand everything, but knows that Zeta has to be stopped. That whatever he has planned for Terapagos, Liko, and Paldea can't be good. Meanwhile, Liko approaches Grusha again for a rematch. He asks if she's ready, but Drayton vouches for her, saying he's confident she'll kick his butt. I mean, he is a member of the BB Elite Four, and as far as he's concerned, an Elite Four member has way more say than just a gym leader. Grusha seems annoyed by Drayton's comments, but he's more focused on Liko, eventually agreeing to the battle. It plays out relatively similar to their last match, ending with a clash between Florigato and Altaria. This time, Liko doesn't rush into terrassalization, instead playing it safe by commanding Florigato to whip around the stadium. Kieran takes interest in this, saying she's trying to wear Grusha's ace down little by little. This causes Grusha to smirk, saying he's underestimated her. Altaria is then consumed by a crystal and terastallizes into an ice type, desolating Florigato with a wintry barrage. The Pokemon falls to its knees, but Liko shouts out for it to get back up, remembering all they've been through together as partners. As Florigato stands up, it's enveloped in a bright light, evolving into Meowscarada. Everyone is shocked, with Drayton even screaming yes out loud. Lacey giggles, saying he's finally found someone that piques his battling interests. Kieran scoffs, saying the only one to destroy Liko will be him. Meowscarada then also terastallizes, eventually ending with a Tera Blast collision. And Liko ends up on top. She did it! She finally completed the Paldean Gym Challenge, and can now qualify for the Champion Rank exam. Grusha smiles, saying that he was wrong about her, and that she is more than deserving of his gym badge. Liko smiles. Blueberry Academy has turned into one heck of a trip. The Area Zero team leaves the Zero Lab, planning to inform Clavel and the League about Zeta so they can hopefully pinpoint his location. However, things take a dark turn when they're surrounded by armored Exceed employees, all controlling Paradox Pokemon. And leading the charge is Spinel, who says he can't let them leave this place, now knowing what they know. Amitio lashes out at his former colleague, asking why Spinel would side with them, and he says it's simple. Whatever Master Zeta wishes means nothing to him. He just believes in living the best possible life. If that means siding with a man who can't let go of his grief after a millennia, so be it. He'll be the one reaping the benefits. To their horror, he also says that he's well aware of their idea to send Liko away to Blueberry Academy, and that he already has someone there ready to apprehend her. It's here where we see Kieran, looking at Liko with anger as he watches her smile over her victory. Ash tells Spinel to leave Liko alone, but the man just smirks, saying that Liko plays a much bigger role in this than some battle-driven meathead, and he will take matters into his own hands right now. The group is about to send out their Pokemon as the Exceed forces begin to attack, but all of a sudden a massive laser blast stands in the way between them and the group. As the smoke clears, a figure walks forward. It's Gita. Gita stands before Spinel and the other Exceed employees, Glamora and King Gambit at her side. She easily demolishes the Paradox Pokemon, turning to the others and telling them to get going. Amitio sends out Miraidon, telling the whole group to hop on. While Gita defeats Spinel, the group soars out of the crater. Ash is worried about Liko, but Freed reassures him, saying that they'll set course for Blueberry Academy right away. Speaking of which, Spinel sends a last-minute message to Kieran, telling him to apprehend Liko and relay with the other undercover agents now. But Kieran ignores him, as the only thing on his mind is getting his battle with Liko. And so Spinel is apprehended by Gita and the Paldea League, and will be sent in for questioning. However, Spinel smirks, thinking to himself that he has more than one little bird in place. As we see that Chouse, a member of the Knights of the Round, has infiltrated Blueberry Academy as a substitute teacher. Meanwhile, Cyrano announces that the yearly BB League tournament has once again arrived, and the students are all super excited. Liko and Roy are confused, but Drayton explains that it's a tournament where the top 16 students duke it out in a series of double battles, and the winner is declared the BB champion. Liko checks the rankings. Her and Roy have just made the cut, meaning that they'll be participating with Carmine, the Elite Four, and Kieran. The tournament will be held in 2 days, and so Liko and Roy decide to train together. While they do that, Drayton approaches Kieran. Kieran wants nothing to do with him, but Drayton continuously mocks him, saying he's not strong enough to be BB champ. Kieran says that he's just saying that because he lost to him, but Drayton laughs. He's not strong enough either. But that girl, she's gonna mop the floor with him. This makes Kieran even more upset. He won't lose. With his secret weapon, he's unstoppable. And so the next day arrives. The top 16 students show up on the battlefield, and Drayton looks at Liko, smirking, with her returning the gesture with an understanding nod, turning her attention over to Kieran, who stares at her with hate and rage. And so the top 16 matches begin, with the highlight matches being Roy vs Crispin, Lacey vs Liko, and Drayton vs Amorous. Roy and Crispin make their way to the arena. It's Magmortar and Blaziken versus Roy Skeledirge and newly caught Krokorok. The battle is one of sheer firepower, as both trainers are super hyped up. Due to Krokorok's type advantage, it's able to land a critical hit on Magmortar, knocking it out, but it's then speed blitzed by Blaziken. This leads to a terrestrial clash between the two remaining Pokemon, with Skeledirge being able to overpower Blaziken and take the win. Up next are Liko and Lacey, with Liko using Hatchrim and Kilowattrol, while Lacey uses Primarina and Excadrill. She wastes no time, terrestrializing her ace into a fairy type, negating Kilowattrol's type advantage. Despite her innocent demeanor, Lacey proves herself to be a competent battler, as with very little effort she's able to take out Liko's flying type. This leaves just Hatchrim to fend for herself, with Liko terrestrializing her. This power boost is enough to take Primarina down, but Excadrill still stands strong. Lacey's ace is able to land some critical blows, forcing Hatchrim out of terrestrialization, but the Pokemon refuses to give up, and ends up evolving into Hatterene, using its new strength to solidify her win. Both Kieran and Carmine are able to advance in their respective battles, leaving Drayton and Amorous as the final fight of the top 16. Drayton immediately puts himself at a disadvantage, using just his Haxorus against Amorous' Empoleon and Metagross, and he easily takes the win. Cyrano and Briar ask why he didn't use two Pokemon, and he says he won, so why does it matter? He then turns to Liko with a smile. Their battle is coming soon. This brings us to the top 8, with the major battle of this round being Liko vs Roy, round 2. Both are super excited to have another battle. After all, both have become a lot stronger. And so it's Meowscarada and Palafin versus Roy Skeledirge and Croconaw. Palafin enters Hero Mode, entering an intense Water-type clash with Croconaw. Meanwhile, both starters terrestrialize. The battle erupts in elemental energy, both groups of Pokemon sticking to their respective opponents. However, Liko isn't messing around. Together, Palafin and Meowscarada land a combo attack, a swirling grass and water tornado, which ravages the battlefield. However, Croconaw tanks the attack for Skeledirge, but both Pokemon are raring to go. Things enter their climax as both sides release combo attacks. Liko's Meowscarada is the only Pokemon still standing, advancing her to the top 4. Roy says he still has a long way to go, but he's always happy to have Liko as his battle buddy. Just know this, one day he's gonna beat Liko, and that's a promise. And so we've reached the top 4, Liko versus Drayton and Kieran versus Carmine. Liko nods at Drayton, both promising not to go easy on one another. Meanwhile, Carmine is determined to beat her little brother and finally knock some sense into him. Drayton and Liko make their way to the battlefield. It's Hatterene and Meowscarada versus Arjalodon and Haxorus. Drayton says he isn't going to terastallize until she proves herself, so Liko goes on the offensive. However, from the stands, Lacey says she's falling right into Drayton's trap. By tiring out Liko's Pokemon, Drayton is able to land fierce strikes. Is this all Liko really has to offer? He saw way more in her during her fight with that ice guy. Liko gets annoyed. No, stop it! Drayton is just trying to get into her head. By overcoming this mental hurdle, Liko was able to actually take Drayton by surprise, as Hatterene is able to take Haxorus out. Drayton is impressed, but this is as far as she goes. Archaladon terastallizes into an electric type, its power surging throughout the battlefield and taking Hatterene out. This leaves just Meowscarada, and it's a Tera clash. Both trainers give it their all, and Meowscarada takes the win. The crowd erupts into cheers, and Drayton tells Liko that she beat him fair and square. Liko is proud of herself, and even though Ash isn't here, she can't wait to tell him about how strong she's become. Before the next battle, Carmine readies herself. She misses her Kiki so much. His goofy, happy smile, his enthusiasm for battles in the world. She just wants her brother back, even if it means breaking his dreams of staying BB champion. It's two candidates in Estacia versus Kieran's Hydrapple and Incineroar. Carmine gives it her all, even landing some powerful combo strikes, but Kieran stands his ground. He tells Carmine that he's not going easy on her just because she's his sister. Kieran then proceeds to desolate the battlefield with sheer power. Carmine never had a chance to begin with. Carmine tries to come over and say it was a good battle, but Kieran just walks away, calling her weak. Carmine falls to her knees crying, and so Liko and Lacey rush over to help her. However, Drayton continues to smirk. Kieran's time is up soon. He just knows it. And so the finals have arrived. The battle to decide this year's BB champion is here. Ogerpon and Terapagos versus Hydrapple and Kieran's secret weapon, Roaring Moon. Liko and Terapagos are shocked. How does Kieran have a Paradox Pokemon from Lucius's legend? What exactly is going on here? Kieran lashes out at Liko, asking how she could bring out the ogre at a time like this. His anger is radiating off of him relentlessly. Is this even the same kid anymore? Liko readies herself. Kieran is barely commanding his Pokemon, just screaming out attack, 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 over and over again. Surprisingly, this works, as Roaring Moon's power is beyond anyone's expectations. Liko takes the defensive, using Terapagos as a shield for Ogerpon. Roaring Moon continues to try and get in close, but Terapagos unleashes powerful strikes that keep it at bay, allowing Ogerpon to focus her attention on Hydrapple. The Pokemon releases a barrage of attacks its way, but Liko turns the tide of the fight by terastallizing her partner. Ogerpon's strength increases tenfold, leading to an epic clash between the two. When the smoke clears, Ogerpon stands victorious. However, the same can't be said for Terapagos. Its defenses finally crumble, and Roaring Moon lands a decisive blow. Kieran laughs maniacally. He's the BB champion, and nobody, especially Liko, won't take that from him. Liko asks why he hates her so much. Cause if she truly hurt him, she wants to apologize. Kieran mocks her, saying it's too late for that. When she stole Ogerpon from him, their friendship was over. Stole? Ogerpon chose to come with her. She didn't decide anything. But Kieran calls her a liar. There's something special about Liko. She had to entice Ogerpon somehow. Otherwise, how can his best friend just leave him behind? It's not fair! In his rage, Kieran terastallizes Roaring Moon, amplifying its dragon-type attacks. Ogerpon is forced to dodge a powerful onslaught. Luckily it does, but Roaring Moon appears behind her, thrusting the Pokemon into the ground before pummeling it with a Dragon Pulse. Liko screams out, and Kieran smirks. More! Ogerpon will pay for leaving him behind! Ogerpon thinks back to Lucius. The kindness he exuded, the smile he gave her. She feels the same way with Liko. And so, she won't give up now. Mustering up all her strength, Ogerpon stands back up, releasing all of its remaining energy into a single attack, knocking Roaring Moon out. It's over. Liko has been declared this year's BB champion. Kieran falls to the floor, utterly defeated. This isn't over. It can't be over! Meanwhile, Ashfried and Ametheo have arrived at Blueberry Academy. They dock the ship and immediately rush inside, only to find Chouse waiting for them. She says the school isn't allowing any visitors at this time due to the tournament, but Ash says to let them through, that this is important. Chouse smiles, saying she's well aware, and that's why they can't interfere. All of a sudden, she disappears. It was just a hologram, and the group is then surrounded by undercover Exceed employees, who all send out Paradox Pokemon. Ash gets very upset, with Fried telling him to calm down, that he'll hold these guys off with Ametheo. Ash is able to get through, and rushes into the school. Meanwhile, Liko's award ceremony is held, the entire school celebrating her win. Cyrano wishes her congratulations, and Liko thanks him, saying every single moment at Blueberry Academy has been an absolute blast. Cyrano smiles, happy to see she loves the school he put his heart and soul into creating. Carmine and Drayton look on admiring the scene, the former looking at Kieran, who still says nothing. However, all of a sudden, a green light rushes into the arena. Liko falls unconscious, and is picked up by the attacker. It's one of Zeta's Pokemon, Iron Leaves. Chouse then appears with her Medicham, saying it's time to get out of here. However, they're hit by a Tera Thunderbolt. Ash has arrived. Drayton also recovers, sending out Archaludon to take on the duo. But to make matters worse, Kieran stands by Chouse's side, sending out his own Paradox Pokemon once again. I mean, if he can beat Liko's teacher, that means he has to be stronger than her, right? That last battle was just a fluke, it has to be! And so the battle begins, but to be honest, Iron Leaves takes charge. It's far stronger than Archaludon, as it's taken out with ease. Pikachu is sent flying back, Terastallization deactivating. Kieran looks on. This doesn't feel right. I mean, he's winning, but why is it just so wrong? He knew about the attack this whole time. No. No more regrets. This is the path he chose. The path of the strong. All of a sudden, a helicopter appears, and Liko is brought inside. Chouse and Kieran have escaped. Liko is in Zeta's hands. Ametheo, Fried, and Roy come rushing over. Ametheo is ready to punch Ash. He let them get away, but Fried gets in the way of them. This is the last thing they should be doing right now. There's only one thing they can do. Confront Zeta and get Liko back. At the same time, Gita and Rika interrogate and imprison Spinel, who gladly tells them Zeta's plan. After all, they couldn't stop it even if they tried. Once Terapagos falls into his hands, he will erase the past 1,000 years of history by crystallizing the entire region, reverting it back to the ancient kingdom which was so wrongfully taken away, with Lucius's descendant serving as the people's new symbol, the first monarch of an everlasting empire. Gita tells Rika to prepare for a fight. Things are about to get serious. Liko wakes up, sitting atop the king's throne. Iron Leaf sits alongside the other Paradox Swords of Justice, and they all bow in front of her. Liko is confused. She doesn't remember what happened. All of a sudden, cries are heard, as Zeta, now freed from his crystal, walks over and bows alongside his Pokemon, saying he's waited a millennia for her arrival. It's time to correct his mistakes. Liko's mind is hazy. The last thing she remembers is Blueberry Academy being attacked. And this man, why does he look so familiar? The Crystal Pool. This is the man from Lucius's story, the one who tried to take control of Terapagos. Zeta says that a millennium ago, he foolishly sought power beyond his control. He couldn't understand what he had, only what he could gain. But not anymore. Once Paldea has been swept clean of the past 1,000 years, he will serve the new monarch as her right-hand man. Liko asks if he's talking about her, and he nods. After all, in order to make amends for what he did to Lucius, it's only natural his family returns to their original position. Liko calls him crazy, saying she'll never go along with this, and Zeta says that once the process is complete, she'll have no choice. Meanwhile, in another part of the castle, Kieran and Hamber look at a captured Terapagos. Kieran is kind of regretting his actions, but Hamber comforts him, saying he did what he had to do in order to become strong. Now, it's time for the final step. Hamber commands Kieran to terastalize Terapagos. The Pokemon, hearing this, becomes horrified, the crystallized kingdom it created 1,000 years ago, haunting its every thought. But Kieran's come this far. There's no turning back. Terapagos is then forced to terastalize. It screams out in agony as it transforms into its stellar form. The amount of Tera energy surging through its body is too much. It can't control itself. The palace then begins to shift, the entire thing shaking and surging with Terapagos' power. Outside of Zapapico, the ground opens, as a giant crystal-shaped like Terapagos ascends into the air. The palace transformed. Everywhere it goes, crystals follow, like the land itself is being terastalized. The entire town of Zapapico, buildings, people, and Pokemon alike, are trapped inside Tera crystals. And Levincia, Dot looks on to see the giant creature. She rushes back to Murdoch's bakery, where Iono is resting, and she tells her sister they need to go and help out. The same can be said for Brock and Arvin. Arvin, now knowing the truth, says it's up to him to make sure his parents' legacy isn't tarnished any further. Brock stands with him as they make their way towards the giant Terapagos. Nimona, who is trading with her Pokemon, also sees what's going on, saying she should lend a hand. As the crystal continues its assault, a group stands in its way. It's the Paldea Elite Four, led by Gita, who deduces two things. 1. Using terastallization will only increase Terapagos' power, meaning they're at a severe disadvantage. 2. If Zeta's goal is to crystallize the whole region, it needs to head to a place where it could properly expel all its energy at once. And she can't think of a better place than Mesagoza Academy. Their goal is simple: stop this thing from reaching the city, no matter what. Brock, Dot, Iono, and Arvin then arrive, but they aren't alone. All the Paldea gym leaders are here too. Iono made some calls. They send out their ace Pokemon to deal combo attacks with the other trainers. But Terapagos is just too powerful. Without restraint, the giant crystal sends swarms of Tera energy their way, not to mention the Paradox Pokemon under Zeta's control. However, Gita stands tall, saying that as champion of Paldea, it's her duty to protect the region no matter what. But the enemy force is just too powerful. They can't take on all their might, let alone reach the giant crystal. That's when the sound of an airship is heard. It's the brave Olivon. Ash, Ametheo, Frida, and Roy have returned to Paldea for the final battle. However, the giant crystal immediately attacks the ship, shooting it down. In a last-ditch escape attempt, the group flies on Miraidon and Charizard. Making their descent to the giant crystal, Gita tells the group to redirect their attacks. They need to carve a path for Charizard and Miraidon. And so, the Paldean Protection Force succeeds, as Miraidon and Charizard are able to make their way to the giant crystal and go inside the palace. Meanwhile, back at Blueberry Academy, Carmine is full of worry. She hopes Kiki is okay, and if her brother can even be saved at this point. However, she's comforted by Drayton, who tells her Kieran's a good kid. A stupid kid for sure, but a kind guy. There's no way he'll keep going down this dark path. Speaking of which, Kieran watches Terapagos' suffering, and even though he feels regret, his anger and desire to become strong continues to cloud his judgment. In the throne room, Liko realizes she still has her Pokemon on her. Zeta really is trying to get her on his side, huh? She sends out Meowscarada, who's able to free her trainer. Determined, Liko rushes out of the room, setting out to find Terapagos. Meanwhile, more and more of Paldea is crystallized, including the entire city of Artisan. Mass evacuations are happening all throughout the region, with none other than Team Star helping out. Ash, Freed, Roy, and Ametheo fight their way through Paradox Pokemon, only to reach branching paths. They decide to split up, to divide and conquer. This leads each person of the team to encounter their own opponent. Freed and Roy come face to face with Chouse, Coral, and Sidian, Ametheo with Hamber, and Ash with Zeta. The three Knights of the Round send out Glalie, Garganacl, and Xatu, all powered up by Terapagos' power, but Freed and Roy send out Cap, Charizard, and Skeledirge. The student and teacher stand side by side, with Skeledirge finally working alongside its idol as an equal. Despite their power-up, it's clear the enemy force's Pokemon aren't fully in control of themselves. The Tera energy is just too great. Freed takes notice of this, alerting Roy. This is the advantage they've been waiting for. Skeledirge and Charizard serve as an offensive distraction, keeping the Pokemon's attention so Cap can pull off a rising Volt Tackle. The impact separates the Pokemon's formation, knocking the Pokemon out. Roy has finally caught up to Freed. At the same time, Ametheo stands down Hamber. Koraidon versus Miraidon. Ametheo asks if everything was a lie. Watching over him as a kid, teaching him how to battle, the love he showed him that he lost when his mother died and his dad poured all his energy into work? Hamber says it was all true, but now that he knows the truth about history and the sins the people of Paldea have committed, he must correct it alongside Master Zeta. Even if that's true, and Ametheo really wishes it was, he can't stop. He won't allow the region he cares so much about to be trampled over by crystals. He'll stop Hamber right here, right now. And so it begins. Scarlet versus Violet. Koraidon remains as strong as ever. Even without the power of terrestrialization, its pure power almost pressures Miraidon into submission. But through sheer resolve, Miraidon and Ametheo push through. All their training pays off, as they're able to go toe-to-toe with their former teachers as equals. Miraidon zooms across the battlefield, dodging attacks and encountering them. Ametheo clenches his fist. He remembers what his goal is: to create a world without expectations. That hasn't changed. He's still determined to reshape the world. But not like this. He'll never accept this. The battle ends with a Dragon Pulse collision, with Miraidon overpowering Koraidon and taking the win. Hamber falls to his knees, defeated, looking at Ametheo with a smile, saying he's truly grown into a fine young man. Ametheo ignores him. It's time he moves on from all of it. His mother's death, his father's absence, and now Hamber's betrayal. The people he so desperately gave his love to never truly cared for him. But now, he has people he cares about. People who care about him. And together, they'll turn his dream into reality. Now, it's just up to Ash and Liko. Liko finally reaches Terapagos, crying at the terrifying sight in front of her, with Kieran standing between them. Liko doesn't hesitate. She tells Kieran to get out of the way, that she's here to stop Terapagos. But he refuses, and even if she tried, there's no way she could reach him. Still, she has to try. Lucius entrusted him to her. He's one of her best friends, and he's suffering. But Kieran's rage prevents him from budging, and he sends out Roaring Moon, and so Liko's forced into a fight. It doesn't last long. Ogerpon easily overpowers him, and Kieran's motivation is gone. He realizes that he messed up. he just couldn't accept it. But to his surprise, Liko extends out her hand, saying that he is strong. Both her and Ogerpon know that. And to be honest, they just miss their friend. Ogerpon then goes over and hugs Kieran, causing him to cry. Liko's words resonate with him, and so standing side by side, they face Terapagos together. As for Ash, he faces down Zeta, the walking corpse in his Pokemon, stopping the World Champion in his tracks. But Ash refuses to give up, sending out his whole team to counter the remnant of the Ancient Kingdom. It's Cyclizar versus Iron Leaves, Armarouge versus Iron Boulder, and Pikachu versus Iron Crown. Both groups of Pokemon have excellent teamwork. You can really see how Ash's expertise has allowed his 2 Paldean Pokemon to grow. The battle starts turning into his favor, so Ash decides to pull out his Z-Ring, using the power of the 10 million volt Thunderbolt to force his way through the enemy force. But despite this, Zeta's Pokemon stand strong. As if through sheer desire, Zeta's calm composure becomes undone. He spirals into insanity, muttering to himself over and over again that he can't fall. Not again, not again, not again! He must correct his mistakes. Yes, correct them! For Lucius! For his best friend! But it's no use. Ash tells Zeta the world has moved on, that being stuck in the past won't allow for a better future. It's just preventing the world from moving on naturally. Sure, Lucius's kingdom was great, but even in death, he accepted the world had entered different times. The only one clinging on to the idealisms of the past is him. And so, Ash commands his Pokemon to pull off a combo attack, knocking out Zeta's Pokemon. He runs past Zeta, and he stands there motionless. Just like the World Champion walked past him, he guesses the world has moved on from his time too. Liko and Kieran's assault on Terapagos continues. The legendary easily desolates each of their teams. Pokemon after Pokemon go down just after a few seconds of being sent out. The two are left with just their aces, Hydrapple and Meowscarada. They go for a more defensive approach, as charging in clearly isn't working. Meowscarada and Hydrapple circle around Terapagos, dodging its attacks, hoping they eventually tire it out. But this is futile. It's charged to the max with Tera energy. No matter how much power it uses, it instantly recharges. It's trapped within its mind, suffocating from the guilt and pain of its past. Its attacks launch powerful projectiles into the air, with crystals spewing from the surface upon impact. Kieran is almost hit, but Liko pushes him out of the way just in time. This is hopeless. They aren't strong enough on their own. However, all of a sudden, a Thunderbolt and Dragon Pulse combo attack hit the Pokemon, temporarily stopping its attacks. Ash and Ametheo have arrived, making this a full-fledged raid battle. Meanwhile, Zeta still remains frozen, his entire body shaking. However, that quickly turns into a laugh. Not a maniacal one, but one of sincerity and acceptance. He realizes that in his mission to erase the modern world, he wasn't able to see how great it was. That even 1,000 years later, people in Pokemon are still connected, like Lucius always wanted them to be. He's a fool. Such a fool. Zeta then disappears, finally able to move on and join his best friend and sister in the afterlife. The final fight against Terapagos has really turned around, as Ametheo and Ash provide the necessary firepower that Liko and Kieran initially lacked. Ash stands by his student, saying it's time to end this. And so Pikachu and Meowscarada land a decisive blow, and Terapagos is finally defeated. To quell its power, Liko throws a Pokeball, catching the Pokemon, finally completing her team of 6. It's over. It's finally over. However, amidst the chaos, the Crystal Palace begins to crumble. It can't sustain itself with its power source out of commission. And to make matters worse, it's going to fall over half of Mesagoza. The evacuation efforts continue, and the group rushes through the halls of the crumbling palace, reconvening with Fried and Roy. Eventually, they reach the outside, but the buildings begin to fall. Miraidon grabs everyone, but the wind current causes Freed and Cap to slip off. In a last-ditch effort, Freed shoves Cap into Roy's arm, asking his student to take care of him. And so, Freed falls alongside the Crystal Palace, as half the city and the surrounding environments are completely crystallized, including Freed himself. A couple days have passed, and the region is slowly recovering. Unfortunately, the areas crystallized show no signs of changing, but surely the people, Pokemon, and environments will be freed in the future. They have to find a way. Ametheo has taken over Exceed, and alongside some of the Knights of the Round, has created a new group called the Explorers, with the aim of using their resources to help eradicate the crystals. Meanwhile, Ash and Liko say goodbye to Roy and Cap at the airport, who are heading out on a training journey. They'll get stronger, and no matter what, find a way to free Freed and everyone else affected. Liko and Roy share an emotional goodbye, wishing each other the best. And so, life moves on.